You want to hop on? Are you on US West?
Yeah, I'm in the CPL channel.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's because I'm in iRk. Whoops.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, that's like my... Yeah.
That's the one thing I wish we had from SC2, like the ability to be in 5 different channels at once.
Oh yeah, that stuff is... Dude, they did so many convenient things with... StarCraft 2. It's been great.
It wasn't always that way, though. I remember back in beta when they didn't even have chat channels. Yeah, and we didn't have Discord back then either, so it was a pain.
Yeah.
People were trying to figure out Ventrilo. People were trying to figure out...
Oh, wow, dude, you're bringing me back. It's a little scary. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Right, I'm going to actually start up this match here. Let's do... So the first one. Alright, just 1, 2, 3 CPL.
1, 2, 3 password CPL?
Yeah. No, reverse that. Sorry.
Why am I not friends with you in StarCraft?
What do you mean?
Fix that.
So you're actually on the Eastern time zone too?
Yeah. I'm over in Maryland.
Oh shit, okay, I'm in Connecticut. Okay. That's so helpful. It's so hard to find like East Coast time zones because most of the time they're either in Canada or down in Florida. It's so nice to have somebody that can actually play consistent hours with, and there's no lag. Like
most of the people I play with are Canada.
Yeah, see, I'm mostly European, so I usually have to play mutaless, unfortunately.
That just doesn't work for me. Monday through Friday at work.
Yeah, same here.
Time they play.
Yeah, I'm more of a second shift sort of guy, so it ends up the time works out a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
I was an every shift guy, and then COVID got rid of that.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I was working 3 jobs, and then COVID got rid of 2 of them.
Damn.
The next thing I know, I have time, so I tried to figure out what I was going to do. And after a couple months, I just started playing after again.
Sounds like an awesome decision. Hell yeah.
I have no regrets.
Right. Oh, that nap just revitalized me so much.
It's always good, especially after pounding out the overlays. Alright,
Yeah.
So who do we have here for this game?
Oh, we currently have... Let me see here. It should be... Where's my fucking... I gotta, like, shift between 3 things here. It's a Tentot and Escalade. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Escalade. That's gonna be game 1. So all of the names in the second slide match up with the number of games in a row. So I just have them totally set up, so they're gonna... I'll just run them down the line, basically.
Yeah, that works.
Cool. Cool. What time is it? Dude, this Discord is so helpful. I remember having to try to, as you had mentioned Ventrilo earlier, like, dude, trying to figure out stuff without Discord before was like, whew.
Yeah, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, very streamlined. No complaints. No complaints. Is that I thought your avatar for a while was a snowmobile. And I was like, damn, this guy's one of those winter dudes. Like those snow sleds, like, things are so much fun. I think I'm almost all set here.
Alright, I am good to go whenever you are.
Okay, cool. So let me just get this one last
Yep.
overlay all set here. Should be solid. Excellent. Okay. Welcome. We are going to be doing some streaming here for Group 7, I believe, of the preseason. Very exciting stuff. Let's get into the numbers here. We've got a 10-tap and Escalade here for our Game 1. And then we're going to cruise right down the line. We're going to have a 10-tap, Game 2 with Reef, Bashing and Casual compete, Escalade and Casual, Bashing 3 times in a row, and then we'll finish it off with some Reef and some Casual. Very good stuff here. Very exciting. Let's get into it. How are you feeling about this, Sirref?
I'm feeling pretty excited. We have a lot of great games coming up, and looking forward to getting into it.
Starting off with the PVZ here with the 10-tap in the bottom left, our Zerg hero. In the bottom right, we've got Escalade. Is Escalade the Ford? I'm not losing my mind, am I? At first I thought it was a Mercury vehicle, but I think it's a Ford.
No, I believe it's a Chevy.
You're right. This is why we do well together.
Yep. It also helps that you're a Zerg player and I'm a Protoss player, so we'll be able to get a little bit of insight in here. Oh, true.
And I think that first sort of insight you're going to get is the really early game, right? I'm going to be very interested to see when we see a pool, right? If we see a 9 pool, it's going to be pretty aggressive. He might do something like a 12 hatch, which is a little more economical, but maybe a little riskier, especially if the Protoss decides to do something aggressive. You know?
Well, we have a pylon in base, so that may very well happen. That's usually a signal of a gateway sort of play, possibly a 2-gate, but we'll see that coming out soon. How do you feel about these positions from the Zerg perspective?
I think given that we have first scout off, very, very good. But if we see sort of that 2-gate style, very aggressive from Escalade, it's going to be very problematic. So it looks like it's going to be a 9 pool, though, which really works out in favor of the early lings. You get to defend against any sort of pressure. But as soon as this scout gets off from Escalade, especially if we see this 2nd gate go down, it's going to be kind of a game changer.
Absolutely. It looks like it was actually an overpool, so I think he'll be spending his larva on drones over there.
Nice. Excellent.
We have Gateway 1, we have Gateway 2. It is a 2-gate, 11-11.
Excellent. Super aggressive. What a way to start out. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Normally, though, in these positions, I would actually like the Zerg, because Zergs will typically scout towards the closest natural, so they'll get the first scout, and then you also have the high ground 3rd base in their favor once they have that set up.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Ooh, we got a little dancing going on down here. Oh, this is hiding against the scout probe that he's anticipating, but he's probably going to get last scout off. But honestly, with a 2-gate, even with the last scout, I mean, you're going to have such a powerful early game army coming out. You're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on the Zerg.
Well, the other thing with it is he actually doesn't even need to scout, because the moment he sees this Overlord, if it doesn't turn around right now, he's going to know where he is. And he knows.
True. Well, let's see if we see a move out, you know. The flavor of the past year and a half or so with the Protoss has been being very aggressive with the Zealots and really putting a lot of pressure on, especially Zerg players that are fast expanding, right?
Well, the question is how many Zealots he's going to be building. He could build up to like 3, 5, or 7. It looks like he's sending the first one already. But I like these early lings from the 10-tat player.
Yeah, we've got enough to deal with this. I'd like to see a gas at some point if he's going to go for some higher tech. Or
just speedlings. Speedlings give the opportunity for counterattacks against 2-gate. When you don't have speed, it's just so easy to just know and commit against slow lings, since you can be able to have stuff in place to defend if they go around you.
Very true. Very true. I think we're going to see some cannon walls coming up here, and a faster expand behind this than normal.
I would say it's actually a slightly slower expand because of the Forge. I feel like Nexus before Forge here would be good, because there's no speed.
Oh, we're about to get into it here. Oh boy. This is a good engage. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough Zerglings, especially with this second Zealot coming up. But it's going to force some production, and even if you have lost that number of Zealots, forcing out those extra Zerglings is always a good idea from the Protoss' perspective.
Well, I really like the defense from Attentat as well. He was able to keep some drones going up, and he didn't get forced into the overcommittal of Lings in response to the Zealots. I think the Overlord that he still has flying over to see the movement was a big key factor in that.
What do you think of the cannon in the main before gas? Do you think that's just precautionary against the potential of speedlings?
I think it's a defensive play for sure. He's probably worried about a speedling all-in response because he's shown the aggression, but that's actually not the case here. So I feel like going gas or Nexus first would have been a little bit stronger.
Interesting. Well, we're actually even seeing a sunken, so both of these players are anticipating a lot more aggressive behavior than they're exhibiting. Looks like this Overlord. Oh, 2 hits. Oh man, nice.
Let's see where it flies off to, though.
Yeah, that's true. Out of the frying pan onto the radiator,
Absolutely. And it's going.
All right. A little bit of supply block, a little bump in the road, but I mean, honestly, the droning's pretty good so far. Lear's coming up. Hydra speed.
Well, that's just the thing. The drone count, the supply block doesn't hit quite as hard since he doesn't have that much money, so he's able to just get all his tech up, and it doesn't really affect him as much.
Definitely. So I'm going to be really interested to see, we have an early Hydra gen, right? So we're going to see early Hydra pressure. But if he decides, especially once this third base starts to get more saturated and we see the third gas, if we're going to see any sort of potential muta switch, it's always a very, very powerful maneuver. And a double forge.
I think the double forge is very interesting move. It feels like you could look at this positioning and think that it started out with the forge FE.
Yeah, certainly. Well, he's going in a lot of directions here. He's got 2 forges. He's got a Citadel coming up, which is pretty standard along with the Stargate. So maybe he's hoping for a 1-1 timing push with a lot of speed.
1-1 with speed?
Yeah.
That would be a very strong push.
Yeah. Might be a little more delayed, right? But especially if this Hydra production doesn't kick in within the next 2 minutes or so, maybe it could be pretty powerful.
Well, we also have a lair and 2 gas. Do you think that might signify lurkers coming in earlier, or just Hydras for now?
I mean, he's got a really healthy drone count. He honestly could just pound out a ton of Hydras right here if he wanted to, which I think is a good maneuver. I think we're really going to start to see, now that it's around 7 minutes, really true commitment to the Hydra production. We're probably going to stop the droning because we have good saturation everywhere. And yeah, I think you could see a switch into lurkers, definitely. But I think taking your third gas is the biggest indicator of when you're going to switch to lurkers. Early Corsair. Nice. A little bit out of pros, but that's okay. That's all right.
And he is producing more than 1 Corsair, so it's not just scouting and go from there.
This is a good catch here. We don't have enough Hydras coming down. Okay, alright. He's going for an Eva chain. Okay. This Corsair is actually going to get taken out, unfortunately. But that was a good stack. I mean, if he sweeps in here with saves up maybe 2 Corsairs, comes in here real fast, he could actually take those out later. And now we're seeing that real Hydra production coming out. The Hydra printer, as they say. And I think there's a Spire here. There it is. Nice.
I feel like the Spire is reactionary to the Corsair. He's probably just going to get a couple Scourge. I don't think he's going to get mutas or anything like that. Just pound out Hydras and go.
Well, he only built 1 more Corsair, and he's actually not producing anymore. He's just going straight into Templar Archives. So, probably going to see a heavier ground-based army. But this is a big move coming in here, actually. This is pre-storm. It's only got a few Dragoons. Doesn't have enough cannons. It's going to do some damage, especially if it's coming in stronger.
Well, he's buying a little bit of time with his army. He's getting a couple more cannons up. Actually, just 1 more cannon up. So let's see how it goes. He might be able to just turtle up and stay alive for a little bit.
Some Zealots coming out. I think with good position, these Dragoons could do some good damage. But he's really got to keep those cannons alive. That's really going to be some of those main damage dealers here. He's got it in concave. Things are looking good here.
It looks like it's also just not enough cannons as well. Typically, you want about 1 cannon for every 4, maybe 5 Hydras if you have a couple of Zealots in front.
Certainly, and that's, talk about cleaning up here. Totally destroyed the front end. Taking out the forge, everything that's coming down. That's GG.
And we have GG.
Very nicely played.
Into a 10 tap. That was a very well played game.
Yeah, very nicely done. Very nicely done. Really bided his time. Wasn't too phased by the 2 gates early on.
Really I thought his reaction to the 2 gate was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
He made just enough lings. He only had 3 lings left over after the initial fight. From there, it was easy.
Really unfazed. Fortunately, yeah, slow zealots are a little not quite so hot in that position, but all right, let's do this. We're going to come into a 10 tap versus Reef. This could be another PVZ. Let's do it to it.
Alright. Joining game now.
Oh my goodness, I started without you.
Oh.
Leaving you behind. My bad. Here, I got you. I'm going to set it back up again. Alright, same password and everything. Wow, I wonder if we're going to see sort of that same style going on here, which is the that early 2 gate and the Hydra printer. I always enjoy a heavy Hydra game. I think that they're just very, very, especially in a lower lag situation. They're just so robust units. They fall to storm pretty well, but other than that, they do very good damage. We got a 10 tap in the bottom right, and we have Reef.
And we have Reef in the top right.
Nice.
These positions, I think that, well, he's actually sending his Overlord over to the southwest, so he's actually not going to get the first scout.
Be interested to see if we see another overpool. The overpool is so consistent, right? It's sort of a jack of all trades build, especially against Protoss. You can really do anything you want off of it. So I think it was a good decision.
Well, it's also better defensive against possible cannon rushes, possible 2 gates, than just going straight for a 12 hatch. I actually like it a little bit more. I don't think it's that big of an economic hit.
Okay. First move here is going to be whether we see that gateway or that forge. Right, forge is a little more defensive, but your economy really starts to kick in a lot faster.
The forge is also a lot easier to pull off. You have a lot fewer decisions, and it's not going to come down to as much what you read off of the Zerg player.
Certainly.
The gateway, you can get yourself caught out in some awkward situations pretty easily.
Yeah, like what happens if you lose all your zealots early on? You're like, oh, now my front end is buried.
Well, some Zergs also like to do like a 10 hatch and then 9 pull 8 gas, which against gate first, if they just rally speedlings and you move out at all, you just lose.
Yeah. There's always that. It's and another just on a side note, another difficult thing for the Protoss player is just how much information you need from the Zerg player. You just have to find out what they're doing at any given time. The threat of the Hydra bust is always there. The Muta switch is always there. They just have the Zerg player just has so many options versus you. You really gotta, you kind of, the adage at the higher level tends to be, you live and you die by that scout.
Absolutely. So we see 2 photon cannons very early. So he's very committing to this defensive structure idea.
I like it though. Really hedges your bets. allows you more time to focus on that early economy and get yourself into a good position in the mid game.
Plus, it also helps out if I was the Zerg player looking at the forge placement with gateway below. That actually does not wall. The gateway above forge does, but gateway below does not. So you can run speedlings right through that hole and just wreak havoc on the probes in the main.
Yeah, always a threat. It doesn't look like we'll see that, which is an interesting maneuver. He's just going to, again, drone up. He's very consistent across these 2 games. We'll see the third base go down.
He's going for the 3 hatch before gas. Very solid opening, especially in this position.
Got our Nexus coming up. Gateway. Interesting. Gateway in the main, rather than down with another pylon. Even, you know,
I think he just feels comfortable with the 2 cannons. He just doesn't feel that he needs the extra little bit of wall. Since with those 2 cannons, that'll take out like around 8 links before they even can run up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very, very solid. That 300 mineral investment really pays for itself against early nonsense, if you will. Okay. Nice droning going on. Third base about to finish up. And I think, you know, from the Zerg perspective, seeing a Forge first opener, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm not going to see any Zealots anytime soon, so I'm going to be able to drone basically to my heart's content. And I can tech up quicker if I choose to. And I think that's what we're seeing here from a 10-tap.
Oh yeah, we're definitely seeing a very happy Attentat, because with his opener and then seeing the Forge first, it's exactly where he wants to be.
He's looking good. And this position is a similar one that we saw in the last game, and he performed very well. So I think, what adjustments do you think Reef is going to have to make, really, to avoid that sort of early Hydra push? Do you think he's going to have to come out with that 730 timing faster and do more damage, or just be more active on the map?
I feel just going for a quicker Storm is really the answer. Okay. That or a fast legs for the Zealots and being active around the map and just messing with the Zerg and trying to throw them off a little bit. Because Attentat really likes to drone, so like 1 or 2 Zealots into the 3rd or natural could probably do a lot of damage.
Certainly. Yeah, you know, it's funny, that early Zealot push, when you first get legs and you're really able to assert yourself on the map against the Zerg player, keeping those Zealots alive is almost more important than doing damage with them. You know, because if you lose them, you've now lost map control, and the Zerg player can do essentially whatever they want. And it's
they don't even have to do damage. You can just hide them behind the mineral line, and they just sit there being annoying.
Yeah. Second gas going up. Hydra Den. So it looks very, very similar to what we saw last game. So we're probably just going to see that same level of Hydra pressure. I'm going to be interested to see how he changes it up in response to the Forge first. If he's going to go a little heavier, or he's going to hit maybe a little earlier with fewer Hydras to try and catch him off guard.
Now, I do like Reef's opening here. Going for the Citadel of Adun. That means his Storm and leg speed should be much quicker, which against the Hydras should be able to help out for him to hold the Hydra pressure that will be inevitably coming.
Yeah. Attentat does very much like those Hydras. Again, his droning is very solid. He's taken every opportunity to throw down as many drones as he can, which is great. I mean, as a Zerg player, you have to do that. You have to fit in as many drones as you can, because otherwise you just get run over in the mid game.
I like this wall as well. The Sim City with the crew colonies at the natural.
Yeah,
is great against early Zealot pressure. Nothing's getting in there until at least way later on.
Yeah, certainly. He's very defensive, and he's actually floating a lot of minerals. So it looks like we'll probably end up seeing a Hydra dump here pretty soon.
Oh, and he's getting some creep colonies on the 3rd as well. So once those go up,
very, very defensive. Interesting decision. It's a lot. It's a lot of creep colonies for sure, especially against only 3 Zealots. But he's got a nice block here, so this is going to be repelled very easily.
Well, the main deal with that is he was droning so heavily, he didn't really have the units, so he just decided the creep colonies were the way to go. And I love this position for him. He has 36 drones. He just held off the Zealots, didn't really lose much. He's in a good spot.
And we've already got Storm coming, so I think Reef's in a little bit of a better position only because he's got that early Storm. He knows we're going to see Hydras, and he's actually throwing out a Robo. Nice. Okay. And we don't see any Spire. +1's going to be done here in the next 30 seconds.
Does he already have leg speed?
I'm not sure. Yes, he does. He's looking good. He's going to take a 3rd right off of this. Feeling pretty bold.
I love this play.
Yeah.
He's got 3 gateways. It's so greedy, but it's not being scouted, so it looks like it might work out in his favor.
Yeah, and I really like this Robo. This is going to allow for some early Storm drops if he wants to. He could even go into Reavers really quickly if he decided he wanted to play a really defensive game and try to draw it out. I really like what's going on here. I think this is a great response to the super defensive sunken style here.
Absolutely. And then if in the event that lurkers do come out, it takes no time to make an observatory compared to the Robo, so he's already in a good spot there as well.
Yeah, he's looking good, and he's starting to pull away with the probe count very quickly. His third is very healthy. It's going to be done here pretty soon. Yeah, I'm very excited by this. This is very nice. Very nice. He could even start to put on a couple more gates right now in anticipation of this Nexus finishing up and having that saturation.
That is what I would absolutely love to see, going up to like 8 or 10 gates, and then Singularity Charge for the Dragoons, and then you can get a really strong push out, especially since he got Storm early. He has the Crystal for the Templars, so they have extra energy. They're going to have so many Storms between these 3 Templar. Yeah,
he's looking really confident. This is a lot of Hydras, though, I'll say that. this is a lot of boys here. You're not going to be able to do much in here. So I think he's going to hopefully come down, see this veritable wall of Hydras, and quickly back out. Yeah, that's always a good idea. Yeah, it was a good idea to come poke the third afterwards to see what they got going on here, or to check for a fourth, because I would love to see a fourth.
I think he's going to check for a fourth, actually.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a Tentat hit that fourth base and really get into this third geyser. I mean, he's got a lot of Hydras here. And if he's going to play this defensively, why not go into Lurkers? You're already here. You already got your Hydra Den. You got a fair amount of gas so far. You're missing one drone here, but that's all right. All you got to do is throw down this extra extractor, build a few more drones, and you're probably going to be in a good position here. But I think he's going to have to start making some moves, especially with this third base going on.
Well, in a way, he already is. One thing we haven't talked about is the upgrades. He's getting 1-1 really soon. He already has a layer, so he'll be able to get 2-2. And that's as opposed to +1 with +1 armor on the way. So he'll be matching, and then, unless there's a second forge, he'll be exceeding the upgrades pretty quickly.
Yeah, a little bit of a big move here coming in. I don't know if this is going to do much. Seems like a little bit of a waste of zealots, but it's got good intel on how little the saturation is on this base. So he knows that although there's a third base up, he's really primarily operating off of 2 bases. I would love to see it.
Yeah, that intel is huge. He confirmed there's no 4th base. There are 3 bases. Drone saturation is low at the 3rd. And he knows his probe saturation is on fire. He has 67 probes. That's so great.
He's looking great here. I'd love to see some more Templar. He's got the gas for it. I'd love to see some more Storms. Really hedge your bets against how many Hydras you got here. Because these Zealots are great, don't get me wrong. But when you have a ton of Storms, you can take this as a 5th base, as a 4th base very quickly. And you can just have that extra mineral dump for Zealots in the future.
I'd also like to see a lot of Dragoons pop out. That way, if some Lurkers come out, he doesn't just get blindsided with all those Zealots, which we have Lurkers murking now.
Nice. And Roof's already got an Observer over here, checking out the place. And one thing that's hard is if you switch to Lurkers too soon, without securing that 3rd or 4th gas, you're really not going to have the number of Lurkers that you're looking for. And a couple is good here and there, but 2 or 3 Lurkers just doesn't compare to the power of 6 or 8 of them, especially against this number of Zealots, these 2 to 3 control groups here. And there's the Templar. I would love to see the Goons now. A nice big round, 2 rounds of Dragoons, round off that army, and now you can really start to assert yourself on the map.
Absolutely, because there are so many Hydralisks out right now. He's going to need those Storms.
Yeah, and he's moving. Tentat is moving out. He's looking for a fight here.
But with this angle, though, this angle favors the Protoss. He'll be able to sweep in and just do a full concave with this.
Heavily. But we're also going to see another base being taken, it looks like, over here.
That is so great from the Tentat.
Yeah.
Moving up to the high ground first.
Confident in holding it. All right, a little bit of clump here. He's got a lot of Zealots. As long as these Storms don't land. Oof, that's a big one.
Pretty solid. Oh, that is so
nice. Very nice, very nice. But he's got so many Hydras. There's so many here. And he's still putting 15. Oh, yeah. He's looking really good here. Really, really good. Oof. All right, now he's really sensing it. Oh, beautiful Storm, though. Oof.
He still has 4 more Storms, so I think
I think he'll be okay here, even with the sheer damage. I mean, beautiful Storms. Oh, good move on the
Lurker in the middle line.
Oh, man. Nicely done, nicely done. Very nicely done. He's still got this shuttle. You know, now would be a great time. You've really worn down the Zerg. Take a High Templar or two and go Storm Drop him, you know? Ooh, nice DT. No detection here. Nicely done. But this is a lot of Hydra still, you know? Even with all these storms, you know, you don't have much to really bulk up against these Hydras with. You got to have some beef in the front.
And then meanwhile, at the third for a 10-tat, he's droning up hard behind this. I love this play from him.
Yeah, he's making moves here. He's also got his +2 coming up for Carapace. He's looking really good. Interesting.
Oh, and the storm kills the DT.
Yeah. He's got 2 more here, though. He's looking good. If he takes out these Lurkers, he can take out these Hydras, and he might be able to stabilize really quickly.
I think with these Zealots, he absolutely stabilizes here.
Just as long as there's no Overlords, which doesn't look like. He could even block the ramp with these DTs if he wanted to. That'd be a great move. Okay, they're getting into main, though. Oh, Overlord here. The Observer. He's still getting nice rounds of Zealots in, though. He's not missing those macro cycles. It's a great way to do it. But you can just see these streams of Zerg coming in. This is not looking too good. But
looking great from the Zerg perspective. He's swift killed the natural, but Protoss is rebuilding in top left. That's a strong move.
That's a pretty bold move, you know. Talk about just packing up and leaving to some extent, you know. But he's still really he's got 10 Zealots in production right now. He's holding this ramp somewhat well, and with that miss chance, these Zealots are going to live a lot longer than they normally would. And he's got another DT coming from the back. This is a great way to hold off.
But there is an Overlord. If he gets up the ramp, his DT will be spotted.
For sure, as long as he can actually hit him from here. Oh, he didn't actually finish him off? Okay, there we go. But again, another round of Zealots. Like, as long as this starts to get saturated, he's got gates coming. Eventually, you know, this is going to slow down, this Zerg attack, despite how scrappy it's been. And there it is. He's bought himself some breathing time.
And he still has a massive worker advantage.
Yeah.
Money, but here comes
beautiful DT attack. Oh my goodness. 13 kills, just wiped out this mineral line. Beautiful.
And he's trying to walk over to the...
We got some workers
over
here,
to the main right now, that would be so amazing.
Oh yeah. He's been doing great here. This is exactly what you want to do to get yourself back into this. I would love to see some Dragoons though. You got the gas. Get a couple storms coming out. 14 kills and he gets away. Nice.
I feel like that as a Zerg player, you can very easily think, oh, I killed it.
Yeah, that's a classic move. Oh, so many Lurkers. So many Lurkers. Again, this is where those Dragoons would really come in handy. But I admire that he's still pumping out, still hitting his macro, still building out those gateways, and he's still populating this base over here. So he hasn't really given up on this game yet, which is great.
And he's still building more probes.
Nice. God, that's so many Zealots.
Oh, these Lurkers are going to be so insane.
Committing to it, though, yeah. You know, if he had some Observers, he'd have been able to take out those Lurkers and really take that.
Now, I just realized Lurkers don't do splash damage against your friendly Hydras.
No. Always a buff, you know? Always a plus. And that's the last Observer there. Unless he's got something in production, it's not looking too good. And his income's plummeting because he's really only mining off of 2 bases, and this is such an absurd amount of Hydras here. And although there's no production for the Zerg at home, he's got enough here. I think he can really seal the deal.
But there's a bunch of Zealots going into the natural. I think they take out the one sunken, but the other one still holds.
He's even looking for a 4th base right now for the Zerg, not knowing that Zerg's just sitting on 3. Nicely done. Ooh.
Well, most of the time there would be a 4th base. It probably wouldn't be very defended.
Yeah. And there's GG. Nice. Very nicely done. Very good game. How'd you feel about that?
I felt that was a great game coming out from a 10-tat especially. He shows a really solid all-around play, the same way that he did in the first game, but against a much more standard approach.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was nice to see a gate first game, and now we've seen a forge first game. Very, very nice. It's always nice to be able to compare those, see really where the strengths are. And I felt like Reef was very confident saying, okay, I'm going to throw down these 2 cannons, and I know you're not going to be able to do any early damage to me, and I'm just going to pound out probes. And that's what he did. Really put himself in a great position.
I mean, probes and zealots, they're such a great combination.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. All right, let's start up the next one here. We got bashing and casual compete.
All right, so this is our first game without a Tentat, so we have some fresh players.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, this is 2 we haven't seen before. Very exciting. Oh, ZVT. Excellent.
All right, up in the top right, we have Bashing, our Terran player, and in the bottom right, we have Casual, the Zerg player. How do you feel about these spawns for ZVT?
I like them. You know, as a Zerg player, you can go to that far right, or far, oh boy, I'm having trouble with my left and right. You can go to that far lower left base, and you could really put yourself in a good position. How do you feel?
I just want to expand away from the Terran. I like the position, so the Terran can very easily take the 3rd base and the high ground, and any attacks directly up, they'll be able to kind of wrap around and defend pretty well.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. Let's see. How familiar are you with the... have you played much Terran?
I've played a little bit of Terran. I think with TVZ, usually the 2 barracks opening is very strong. That or a CC first is my favorite go-to.
Yeah, certainly.
But really, it's like Protoss and Terran are the ones that I know. Once you get Zerg involved, it's just a little bit iffy.
All bets are off.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, their economy is so much different than the Terran and Protoss, you know. Just that alone sets them apart very, very distinctly.
I can't tell you how many games I've played as Zerg where I've lost because I droned and forgot to make units.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Speaking of, we're seeing a 12 hatch out of Casual.
Nice. Super, super standard.
And
Really nice
standard
stuff.
barracks.
Mm-hmm.
2 barracks? Okay, it's just scout. Now, how do you feel about this scouting overlord just going over to by the 3rd rather than going towards one of the bases in TVG? Do you think people just tend to lose them to Marines, or?
Yeah, I think it is. If you really get involved in your build, it's easy to forget about your overload and lose it, especially versus a Terran player that's aggressive with their Marines in the early game and really goes overlord hunting, and that sets you behind so much. And more than anything, it's truly demoralizing. Not a good time.
Oh, especially because it's so early too. That 100 minerals hurts so much.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, we'll see a CC here. Relatively standard stuff. So now I'm very excited for the mid game. You know, what are we going to see coming out of specifically bashing? I think that the Terran really has some very interesting options in terms of, okay, so let's say I go two racks Academy. I can do a pre-muta push. I can wait off. I can then transition into 5 racks. I can put a lot of pressure on my opponent with, you know, +1 attack. I can sort of race up the tech tree and try to go irradiates really early and get some drop ships. I mean, there's a tremendous number of options for this. Interesting. A 3 hatch in base. Very cool. This almost leads me to believe it's going to be lurkers, but I could be wrong.
Lurkers as opposed to Muta?
Yeah, as opposed to Muta. I personally think, you know, Mutas, although they're difficult to control, they really give you a lot of viability in the mid game, and they give you many options. And you can really hold off more units with fewer Mutas than you would with Lurkers, because you just have that movement bonus.
But meanwhile, out of bashing, we see the 2nd racks coming up. I think he's going to be getting the refinery. Yep, there it is.
Beautiful.
And he's probably going for 2 racks for Academy, possible early push.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't go Muta, how does that really fare against Lurkers?
I mean, you know, when you're playing against Lurkers, although you need to get detection faster, right? If you push out aggressively onto the map, right, and you kind of park outside the natural here, you know that they're inside with their Lurkers, and you don't really have to worry about establishing map control because you're going to take it early. However, if you fall behind and they get lurkers out really fast and you don't realize it, you're really resigned to your base. And that's until you have detection, and that's such a rough spot to be in as a Terran player. Academy coming up. Nice.
And then we have Ling Speed and the Lair coming out as well.
Yeah. And he's droning pretty well. It can be easy to fall behind on that droning. But I would like to see him take care of this SCV. This is giving Bastion so much information. Yeah. I mean, he knows it's 3 hatch, which is significantly different from 2 hatch. And he knows there's nothing. Okay, all right. We see creep colony.
But he also sees the extractors going down now, so Zerg hasn't been banking gas. So that leads him to suspect that it might not be Muta.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, great move from Bashing after taking those. Is he pushing? Is he not pushing? Who knows?
And it actually is a 3-hatch Spire. So although Bashing doesn't know this yet, he's going to be banking up gas here starting right about now. He's going to actually replace these Lings, which I think is a good move. You know, you really need to have something out in front here to know when that Terran player is going to move out and put pressure on you. You need to know, because you need to know if you're going to have to put up Sunkens or not, right? And how many you're going to have to put up. So if you don't have to build those Sunken colonies, you can save those drones and you can have a much healthier economy. It can be tremendously...
You can also build a creep colony and then not transform it over to a sunken until you know there's a push as well. Save yourself that extra minerals.
Okay, this is a big move here. He's going to have to throw down extra Sunkens and build some Lings. He looks like he's got a fair number of Lings right now, but he's going to need at least 2 more Sunkens. Yeah, nicely done.
Good.
Nicely. And although this Spire this is a pivotal moment for him. If he survives this, he's going to be in a good position. He's got this gas coming up. He's going to be able to pound out a couple of mutas, but he's got to hold this push first.
Yep, and then back at home, Bashing is making the engineering base, so he's going to have
here we go.
Time.
Only 1 Sunken here, though. He's going to have to play this hard. All right, and it looks like he's bought enough time with those Lings to get these 3 Sunken colonies up.
I think 2 of them probably finish. Yep, 2 finish, and then there's another round of Lings. Yep.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's looking okay here. Nicely done. Nicely done. By the skin of his teeth, but nicely done.
That was a great push from our Terran player Bashing. He still has his SUV at 3rd, so he knows that he's still dealing with 2 base Zerg.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows well, you know, he's going to have scans out right now, and he's going to be able to really check these sort of far expansions to see really what's going on. Because the assumption is, the Zerg is going to take this 3rd because it's close. But with these 2 ramps, it's tremendously difficult to hold. So it's usually you're going to take that far main base, but there's only 1 ramp. And we have the nuke zone.
Main base as opposed to the natural and then the main.
Yeah. Because you want that funnel area of the ramp to put your lurkers on the top of, so that way you can't have, you don't want to have Marines just run by, because they do insane amounts of damage. They'll just run by your lurkers and take out everything you got in your base. So you need to really force them into those funnel points, like we saw earlier with that initial push from Bashing. So nice turrets. Nice turret timing. Doesn't even have to worry about how many mutas he's got. He's got enough turrets here. He's got a good wall.
And it also frees him up to start tacking up towards his irradiate vessels.
Certainly.
Get all of his racks down.
Yeah, and I like the double racks cutting down. I think he's going to be in a real good position in terms of production here for Marines. And although he's confined to his base right now, he's another good move, taking out those Zerglings, denying that scouting. And as I said, although he's sort of confined to his base, that's okay. He's got enough turrets here. He shouldn't take too much damage from these mutas. He can continue to pound out some SCVs, and really, he's in a good position here.
And so is our Zerg player. He's getting the lurkers up. He's slowing down the factory. It's such a huge thing. And just generally being annoying with his mutas.
Nice mutas. It's always a good sign. When you come in, you deny and delay whatever you need to, and then you get out. Those once you lose those mutalisk, your map control just diminishes rapidly. Nice job when the lurkers come.
I like this expansion at the top left.
Ooh,
it's not where it's being scouted by our Terran player Bashing, so it's just not going to be seen. And then that is technically on Bashing's side of the map. So if it goes super late game, those minerals just won't be there for him.
Yeah, that's a bold move. I like it a lot. The real trouble is, can we hold on to it, right? You're going to have to ferry over Hydras from the center, and they're quite slow. So although that's a long walk distance, if he gets them over there and secures that base, he's going to be in a real good position.
But how do you feel economically? I mean, we've had a couple push-outs. He's had to make a lot of sunkens. Just a little bit lower on the drone count than he would like to be. You think he's still economically in the game for the long haul?
I think if he really, really wants to secure himself nicely, he either needs to start droning right now or really start droning extra hard when his third comes up, right? So we have the Hydras moving over to take care of securing that third base for him. But nice. He's producing some drones here. And you really it's so hard to balance out that larva usage, and he seems to be doing a good job of that right now. But he's got to do it a little more. And he fights micro. Very nice. Taking a lot of Marines. Good harassment.
Oh, that is so great, getting all those medics.
But he's got enough Marines. Bastion's actually going to move out. Super aggressive here. I like it. I like it a lot. Pre-vessel, pre-irradiate.
But there aren't any lurkers back at home.
It's true. He could morph a couple of lurker eggs here and soak up some of that damage for the Sunkens to do the work. But this is dangerous, man. This isn't looking good at all. I think Bastion could do some serious damage here, especially if he moves in right now. But that's a lot of lings. Oh my goodness.
That's a lot of Marines.
Yeah. This is sending him in a little too early, but again, the mutas are coming back. He might be able to hold this too if he's careful with it.
He does have a great angle with these mutas. See if just chip away. But I think there just isn't enough here. He's going to get a lot of damage here.
He's coming in, yeah. Sunken line is broken. Now, if he wants to just run into the main base, everything is fair game. All the drones, expansion, the natural, these mutas. See, these 4 lurkers are actually going to come back home, which was reasonable. He's actually pulling the drones too. A lot of damage. Whew. I think with enough units.
I think short of lurker drops right into the middle of the line, I'm not really sure of a lot of ways that we can come back from here. That's a great move by our Terran player Bastion.
Certainly, and he's following it up even more aggressively. He recognizes that he has the advantage. He's got some tanks. His irradiate's coming out. He has more Marines. He's going to be able to bring them back. So even with these lurkers, one of those is going to go down. Nice damage. Nicely done. All right. So he's regained his natural, but he's lost a tremendous number of drones. We've only got 10 right now. Effectively mining from one base.
And then we have 2 massive groups of Marine medic. I mean, it looks like even just one of these groups, once the vessel's out, will be able to hold.
I think he's biding his time, waiting for a couple vessels, and once he gets that detection, he's going to be able to come and pound out this front door. Again,
good the first vessel, or do you think he waits for just a little bit?
I think it's totally reasonable to move out with your first vessel with this number of Marines and a decent level of awareness. You're going to be able to defend it, and he's got a tank too. He's looking really good.
Oh, and he does have 6 scans available as well.
Yeah, he's in a good position. I'd love to see him take a third base off of this. Come over here, take this gas right here, really cement himself. Now, he did a good job droning in the meantime, but he doesn't have much here, and holding this off is a tall order for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and it's just coming down. It just looks like a stream of Terran death coming down to the doorstep. But I do like we have the lurkers, we have a couple more Sunkens coming up.
Yeah,
the mutas are going to spot this.
Again, this is that point where you need drones for the long game, but you got to use your larva, but you need the larva for the military units too. It's a hard decision, and I think I would say with Dark Swarm he would be in a good position, but right now this is not looking too good. But we'll see what happens.
Well, it's also from the Terran perspective. If he sees a bunch of units, he can just pack up, go home, and wait till later.
That's true too.
There's no conflict.
Very mobility based. It's incredible how much damage and how mobile those Marines are. Put pressure on any base you want. Radiates out. Nice. And these two
All
lurkers.
the lurkers are about to go down to the irradiate.
Yeah, and that's it.
And there's our GG.
Nice. Nice. Interesting choices. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like that really early aggressive move from bashing. I like that continual great macro. Yeah, I thought it was very well done.
The single biggest thing I liked there was the scouting from bashing. He was always aware of everything that was going on. It took a hatchery on the other corner of the map in order for him to not see it. That was the only thing he didn't see all game.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, knowing what your opponent is up to is such an important maneuver. So important. Alright, here we go. We've got Escalade, and our friend Casual is coming back for a second game. Hopefully you can pick up a win here. See what happens.
Alright. Now we have another PVZ and Escalade down here in the bottom right. He went for a gate first, 2-gate opening. Let's see if he does it again.
Very aggressive earlier. Very aggressive.
And it looks like Casual is doing the same thing with his Overlord. He's just moving it over to a good spot that he has predetermined, but I'm not sure if he's going out to scout with it unless he's going cross positions.
Yeah. I'm imagining he on the ladder he's lost his Overlord so many times he's he's just hedging his bets and deciding to hide it rather than taking the risk even against a Pro-S player.
I mean, those cannons, they can get a few Overlords every once in a while.
Oh, for sure. Especially if you stop paying attention. You know? And they move so slow, you're kind of lulled into a false sense of security with them. Kind of forget about them. And then before you know it, you're getting hit by cannons. You're like, oh, dear God.
And then we have the pylon at the natural, so it's most likely not going to be a 2-gate play this time around. I like it.
Seeing some variety from him. I like it a lot. And this is just a straight 9 pool.
Yes, it is.
Interesting.
I like the 9 pool though. 9 pool against, if it's forged first, can be very strong.
Yeah, it really forces out those 2 cannons. And against a gate, which it's going to force hopefully those 2 cannons, right? It's a good investment, and you can follow up that you know the Pro-S player really has to respect the fact that you have gone for early lanes, right? And a little bit of drop there. That's okay. Yeah.
But you're saying the Pro-S player has to respect that
early pool. They need to put down. Oh wow, he actually went forge gate. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me see if he puts down a cannon. How do you feel about this?
So I feel that the gate this early, it feels like he's going for almost kind of like a gate first with an early zealot. Or he's going for a really tricky, really nice all-in that's counting on the fact that there's no Nexus not being seen.
Yeah. Interesting. He's actually hooking this Overlord around. So he actually decided he might have been looking for, a proxy 2-gate. I don't know, I'm not in his head, but now we're seeing that scout out.
Now, one thing to note here, Forge to the right of Gateway does not wall. So those lanes can go straight down and dive on that cannon.
Yeah, which is a legitimate threat here. I mean, we have 6 lanes coming down. This is what I was talking about. Really, okay. It's going to be a close one here with this cannon finishing. But you really have to...
You're going the wrong way.
Yeah, he actually isn't even sure where he's going. Okay, interesting. So he's bought himself enough time. This cannon will finish.
That second cannon will be up, and then he'll be well defended.
He should be good to go. So as long as Casual follows it up with enough droning and a strong economy, he should be good to go. Oh,
now here's the real question. We have a simulator before Nexus. If he gets a couple gates here, that could be a really strong all-in.
Very interesting. Okay. What time would he be looking to attack the Zerg with that?
You'd be looking probably around somewhere between 4:30, 5 minute with a bunch of zealots off of 2, maybe 3 gates.
Nice. Super aggressive. I like it. I'll always advocate aggressive builds. Always. Third going down. And we're starting to see that real strong droning. Very, very good. Just electing to hang out here with the Zealot. Interesting. I would have thought... well, he knows these lings are out on the map, but with the 2 cannons he should be relatively safe.
Well, with the Zealot as well, those lings aren't going to do anything other than just get killed.
Yeah, certainly.
Zealots are the natural hard counter to lings.
Yeah, really. So true. They're scary. As an early unit, Zealots are scary. Truly frightening. I mean, even them just walking into your base, it's like, oh boy, here we go. And then if you leave them alone for a little while, they start to regenerate their shields. Oh, God, you got to go back and do your work over again. Oh, so
and
rough.
then at the same time, you have lings, which are also equally scary. Those things can dart around, pick off probes, run around, and just be generally annoying.
True. Yeah. I mean, how many times in your life have you moved out, had a bunch of lings run by, and just have had lings in your main base for the next 2 minutes?
I've had it happen so many times. I've had games I've just left the moment they enter my base.
Just not even willing to engage in that sort of game.
Yep.
I feel you on that.
Oh, and we have Hydra with fast speed here, so let's see. 17 drones. You might be going for a Hydra bust here.
Yeah, that's what we're looking like. I like it.
Now here's where that early gateway comes into play. He's going to have a lot more Zealots than he would have had to be able to defend against that.
Yeah, certainly. I've run into recently, more than a couple times on the ladder, a really heavy goon early push. Just, they hit me relatively early with like 8 goons, and it can be very difficult to deal with certain builds.
Is this the one off of around 5 gateways? I believe it came from Best.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. It seems like an ultra specific build, and against certain builds it does really, really well, and against the vast majority of builds it probably doesn't do too well. But
against early Hydra, like a Hydra bust, it destroys it.
There we go.
The goons outrange the Hydras, and they just start melting.
It's actually forcing some Kree colonies. Always a good move on the Protoss' part. But this isn't going to be done in time. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage to this.
I like this fight from the Protoss side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If they take out a lot of these lings, the Hydras won't be able to do that much damage. He already has the Sun.
Yeah, that's a lot of Zealots.
Great.
Oh, man. If he keeps this up, he might be able to just straight up take this third.
And this is consistent, too. Escalade really likes being aggressive with the Zealots.
Certainly. That's always a good move, you really catch that Zerg off guard.
And back at home, instead of all the dunes almost done. I love this move. It's just so aggressive, so nice to get a couple drones.
Oh, nice. Well worth the investment. Well worth it. And you know what? You can be willing to throw these Zealots away because you have the cannons to back it up already at home.
Oh, absolutely. Now here's the interesting thing. He's going for the Corsair here. Do you think he might just go in and commit with a bunch of Corsairs and try to take out some Overlords? Or do you think he's just going for that later on scout? I
think he's going for that early scout. I think it'd be, the Protoss player inside of me would want him to just go all in and just absolutely pound out a bunch of Corsairs. But I think he's just gonna scout. Because as of right now, you've got all these Hydras at the front of your base. You've done a lot of damage to the Zerg at his third. It's perfectly plausible that Zerg is going to double down and say, okay, I'm just going to produce Hydras from here on out and try to just bust you. So I think it would be more advantageous to play a little more cautiously and get a few more ground troops.
Well, that's where this Templar Archives and the Zealot leg speed that's coming out will come really helpful in play.
Yeah. I mean, our lair isn't even finished yet, and our Evo has just started, so this is looking really good for... Given the circumstances, this is looking good for our Zerg player.
Yep.
Yeah. I just want to see him drone more off the end of this. This is great aggression. He's destroyed a lot of Zealots, taken out a gateway. I'd like to see him drone behind this and really make some moves towards the mid game.
Well, he also might get supply blocked as well.
Very true.
There's no Scourge to deal with these Stairs, so the Stairs can just dance around the Hydras and start picking off Overlords.
Well, we do see the, relatively close Overlord scattering here, right near the rally points for the Hydras, so he should be okay in that regard. I think it's totally safe to skip Spire until a little bit later. And he's actually going Lurkers relatively quickly. Very interesting, off 2 gases. Actually, 1.5 gas. Huh. Very cool. I like this move.
Because these Hydras are not going to be able to bust for discount. cannon count. There's so many cannons coming down right now. They're just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and the longer we go without really droning really hard, the pressure's really being put on the Zerg player. He's got to make some moves here, and the Zealot legs is done though. So this is not as scary anymore, these Hydras.
On top of that, Storm is about to be done. Does he have any Templar out with this Storm?
We'll probably see Templar in the next round of gateways. But here's the drones that I've been looking for. Only 3. I'd like to see some more. Nice. Okay, there we go.
Oh, and he has a Spore as well to help deal with the Corsairs.
Yeah. 2 Corsairs. Nice. Okay. Enough to make the Zerg wonder if you're going to really double down and build a lot of Corsairs. You know? Really put that doubt in your mind.
Well, it's also enough to really be able to pick off a stray Overlord here and there. But you're not super committed. That's only 300, 200 minerals gas. And it's not really that much to throw off your build and all of your other army production.
Yeah. He's moving out. This is a great move. Love it. You got equal numbers of Zealots and Hydras. Take them out.
Oh, and that will absolutely destroy the Hydras.
Yeah, take that fight. That's a fight you're going to win every day of the week. And there's not much behind it, you know? This is actually a really good move because, you know, our Zerg player's been droning behind this, and he actually has more drones than Escalade has pros.
But that also means his army isn't quite as big, so he only has a couple Hydras here. You might be losing them with these drones.
Yeah, with some good micro, these Zealots are going to take it. I'd love for him to stay on the high ground. Nice. Good decision. Take out these drones.
Timing, too. The lurkers aren't out yet. He might even get this hatchery.
Yeah. Great move. And we're seeing 4 lurkers actually getting built, so... Ooh, and a DT. Nicely done. Although it goes down early, that would have been a great option to run into the main base. So although these Zealots are going to get cleaned up, you really took out that main hatchery. Always a good maneuver. I think that was a good trade. You've got Storms behind it, Goons. Things are looking good for you.
And then your worker count's even, so you're not behind on the workers anymore. I like that trade.
Yeah, certainly. Oh, he's actually killing his own larva. What a move.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you gotta make some sacrifices for the swarm. Nice. Oh man, he's been taking out Hydras now. Absolutely no regard for his own troops. I like it. Those are the sacrifices that truly make a great commander. I'd love to see these lurkers come up and get some sort of defensive posture going on.
Well, if the lurkers go up to the high ground on Escalade's high ground, that's going to be such a great position for him. So hard to break with the Dragoons that you need to deal with the lurkers.
Oh yeah, and he's made the decision. He's going for it.
But in response, I like this move from Escalade. He just finished his robotics facility, so he's going to have some observers out, and he'll be able to spot these lurkers as they burrow.
Yeah. This has been a great match so far. Both players have had really good successes. Oh, nice. Even in the midst of this attempted lurker contain, he's already taken that 3rd base. Nicely done.
No, it's not so much of a contain if you broke out before it happened.
That's true. Yeah, right? It's all about how you look at it. Glass half full.
But also, we have 6 storms sitting right there.
Nice. Oh. Beautiful. And with 6 storms, you can just break these four lurkers easy. And he knows it. He's getting out.
Yep.
Nice. Good decisions on both sides. Very good decisions. Don't throw away your lurkers.
Yep. I'm really liking this position from Escalade. He's getting that unscouted base up on the left-hand side. He's ahead in workers again. And he has all the tech he needs to be able to deal with these lurkers. Yeah.
Now, I'm liking this. I'd like to see, again, more drones. And I'd like to see a true 4th base. And we need a 3rd gas here. It's great to have this mineral only, but there are not a lot of patches here. And you really, really, really need that gas as a Zerg player. Especially if you're going to want to take a fight with a 3rd gas Broas. That's kind of scary.
Now, how do you feel about the Hive coming out on 2 gas? You think that's a little early?
I think it's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for him. I mean, I like that it's aggressive. You might want to be going for some really, really early defilers, or say you're looking at the fact that you got a early mineral only 3rd, and you can say, okay, I'm going to tech very early to cracklings as fast as I can. That's somewhat viable. But overall, I think it's a little ambitious. I think he should be concerned more with getting this base up right here. Nicely done. I think actually he might want to put that a little more closer to the gas.
Well, it's a tense, stressful game.
Yeah, I know, yeah. And he doesn't even know how stressful it is yet because, Casual has no idea that this third base is here.
And Casual also has no idea that this shuttle's coming up the right-hand side of the map, aiming it right for his natural.
Oh, nice. I love this combo. 2 High Templars and a DT and a Zealot. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'd love to see an Overlord down here take out this Observer. But, this is a lot. There's a lot going on in this game so far.
And it looks like Casual is abandoning the contain once again.
I love that he's willing to just pack up and leave. He's really got a Zerg Vagabond style that I'm enjoying. Oh, this isn't working out? Okay, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. But at the same time...
It's so much better than sacrificing all of the units.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're going to see a nice storm here, I think. Ooh, beautiful. 5 kills. Nicely done. And he's still got enough for another one. Ooh, a little whiff, but that's okay. That's alright. You can drop the DT in here. Zealot. You can storm if you wanted to.
And there's no Overlords in the main.
Yeah.
Get some work
he's looking good here.
Oh, storm on the Hydras.
And he sees these mutas. That's a big move. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, so it's sort of a muta switch that we see here, but he doesn't really have the gas to sustain it. He's really going to have to get this going over here, this far base. And he's got to bring some Hydras back to take care of this.
But I'm feeling Casual's going to have to do some serious redroning soon.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not in a good position, for sure. But these mutas give him a little bit of workability, but he's going to have to make some serious moves right after this. Because there's a big attack coming up here. It's even going into the main here.
No, it is a big attack, but there's only one High Templar with this attack. He sent all the other High Templar up with the shuttle.
Right, you are. Yeah. So he got one. He's got 2 storms, so he can do some good stuff, but
he did
not enough.
And he lost the army.
True. Not enough Vagabond choices. He's really not pulling out. Pulling out what he should. But again, he's lost this army, and that's unfortunate. But our Zerg player has to spend probably the next minute and a half just only droning if he wants to get back into this. He has to commit to that. Has to.
And that's such a huge safety net from the Protoss perspective. Just build up your army. You know that if they do attack you, then it's all in, and that's all they have. Yeah,
certainly. I mean, even it wouldn't even be a bad decision to take a... Well, actually, he's taking a 4th right now. I was going to say take a 4th right here, but if you already got the main, you might as well go there. Why not? Take a 5th. Be bold. Yeah, just really double down.
He's going to be able to mass gateways down in the second location like he's playing against Terran player.
Oh, yeah.
2 sources for all of his units to come from.
Just start throwing units at our Zerg player here. But he's doing a great job droning right now. He is. As I said, he was going to have to take... He's doing exactly what we were talking about. Just droning, getting that economy back to where it should be, and hopefully holding off any sort of aggression, which he looks like he's going to be able to hold this off. He's got enough lurkers and enough Hydras. He's actually pulling some drones, too. That's a
no, what a beautiful storm.
Yeah. Oof, nicely done. Good split, though. Got out of there. Didn't take too much damage.
Now, here's the biggest thing that I'm seeing. I'm seeing that Casual is willing to pack up and all of his units stay alive for the next fight. But Escalade, if he had packed up earlier and just headed back and had all of those units that he lost earlier with him, he wins this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. Oh, nice. Rebuilt those 2 Corsairs from earlier, even though he's going to lose presumably one of them. Oh, alright.
And they get the Overlord. Oh, these mutants flying down, going for the main.
Yeah. It's only 3, but that's sort of diverting the opponent's attention. It's always a good thing. He's got to bring some Hydras over. He's going to need something else to contest this. And again, behind this, it's, he's sending up these little waves. Escalade is, and behind it, he's still got this whole other side of the map on the lower left hand that he can be able to power from later on in the game. Beautiful storms.
Well, it's also a beautiful composition. Throwing these Zerg Templar in there is such a powerful move, especially with the Corsairs messing with the Overlords.
Certainly, yeah. Again, doing a great job droning. Wow, he actually had to rebuild his spawning pool. He lost that earlier. And we're seeing air weapons, actually, from possibly a heavy Corsair switch later. What do you think of that move?
I think that's in response to seeing the Mutalisks. I think it's just, if he's worried if their bunch of Mutas do come out, he wants to be able to take them on in a straight-up fight.
True.
Plus, he has the money, so why not? That 4-base economy is huge.
Yeah, for real. I really, just as a side note, I really enjoy that he always has a healthy mix of Zealots and Dragoons. It can be very easy to get tunnel vision as a Protoss player and say, oh, these Zealots are working out really well for me, I'm just going to keep building them. Or, I really like Dragoons and I'm going to keep building them. But he's got a nice mix that allows him to deal with the Hydras and the Lurkers. And a nice little rally. He's got 2 separate forces here. Nicely done. Nicely done.
I think this third might fall.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been wearing away over the course of 10 minutes here. He's been gunning for this third this entire game, actually, now that I think about it.
He got it once, let's see if he gets it again.
Add another notch to his belt, for sure.
But we have 5 Corsairs out on the map. +1 should be done any moment.
Yeah. We even got Carapace coming from our Zerg player. Improves the survivability, but he needs more units. He's been consistently under 100 supply basically this whole game. And he's doing a great job microing, abusing this high ground disadvantage for these Dragoon shots, and holding on. But he's got to really, again, he's got to drone some more. I feel like a broken record.
He's not getting the opportunity to drone. If every time he drones, he's attacked.
Yeah, yeah.
But here we go. There's the next wave on the way from our Protoss player Escalade.
Yeah. And he's got a healthy amount of Corsairs too. Beautiful. Beautiful.
With the 1 hit Overlord left.
Yeah. 18 health. Nicely done. It looks like he's going for the natural. Nicely done.
Oh, it's great with all the Lurkers and Hydras off at the third. Thinking that's right in the head.
Force him to relocate.
He gets the Observer. His push is over.
Yeah. This one was very easily deflected. I think with a storm or two. He did have some high tempo life. This is great, man. He's just building small little groups, playing some real grindy style of ZVP. Very nice.
Oh, yeah. It's just every round of units, you just send them right over to attack. I love it.
Yeah. I'm loving this. This is literal constant action.
But here's the other thing. Escalade doesn't know about top left. From his mind, he is whittling down casual and just straight up killing him. From his mind, all he has to do is just keep attacking and he'll win. But he doesn't know about that extra economy. He doesn't realize it's actually much more important to the game than he thinks it is.
Certainly. But even so, I mean, we're talking a 4-base Protoss with 3 gases. Very strong. Very, very strong. The only thing I would say about his economy is he could use a little more mineral income. Maybe go up to like 60-ish probes.
Maybe even more with this style that he's playing of constant production. He could sustain a larger probe count.
Very true.
I would like to see the 4th gas and a 5th base come down. Maybe like at either the minimum onlys or at the 6 o'clock, which he does have a probe there.
Yeah. I almost would say, since he is playing this style of just absolutely smashing repeatedly, take this Nexus. You're already constantly moving this way anyway. Just get closer to your opponent, put even more pressure on him.
I would like that move as well, because then you're defending it with your pushes, and on top of that, those Nexuses can be pretty hard to break if you get the defenses up in place.
Yeah, I mean, even if Casual were able to move out, he's going to need some Defilers to really deal with a lot of these cannons and these storms. He's going to need that tech. So in a way, going that really early hive was good, but just constant skirmishes.
And this is so huge from Escalade. Now he knows. He sees top left and he knows.
Yeah, he's confirmed. But again, that's a really great base. But he's gunning for this third, and he's going to get it this time, I think.
That's at least, 6 or 7 drone kills right there, and maybe the hat.
Even with Consume on the way, he's going to be hard-pressed. Okay, he's got some mutas here. He actually ended up building a healthy 6, probably hoping for some high Templar pickoffs.
I like the 6 counter meters. If he makes any high Templar, it kills it in 2 shots, I believe. And then it's just a good all around.
And he has Consume on the way. I think that's if he is looking to really get back into this game, he's going to need Consume. He's going to need some Defilers, and he's going to need Adrenal upgrades. Really get some good damage.
Is he going to be able to get that with these Zealots and Dragoons streaming up to top left?
Yeah. 2 Sunkens, 3 on the way, and he's got some Hydras. He might be able to hold this. Yeah.
It's close, though.
Yeah, it's close. These 3 Hydras have to engage, and we can already see in this bottom right, more units are streaming up. This is where the new battle is going to be. Both players really understand the importance.
Going to be able to hold. Maybe lurkers at that ramp. Oh, yep.
Nice lurker block. I don't know if anybody can get through there. It looks like it's wide enough, but yeah, it's open. It's open. Door's open. Come on in. These mutas are strong, and he's gonna have to have some lurkers as long as he burrows this real quickly. And he's got a Nidus coming up. If he holds off, he should be looking good. But we've got a counterattack coming down here. Interesting move. This is the first aggressive maneuver we've seen from Casual.
I would love to see these mutas go after these High Templar, bait out storms, just do whatever they can.
Yeah, certainly. With that number of Dragoons, though, that's a tall order. Very, very tough. But lurkers, he does have an observer here. So I think if he came forward and picked off this observer, he could do some serious work. Nice job. Nice job. We got reinforcements coming here from the natural. Again, holding on.
Just holding on from this absolutely smashing style of just send units right across the map. I love it.
Yeah, there's been 2 consistent narratives, which is Escalade is attacking and Casual is defending.
Well, he isn't always defending. He's losing bases, he's losing drones, and having to remake them. Sometimes not getting the opportunity to remake them. I think this style from Escalade is slowly working.
Yeah. That's a lot of Zealots. Looking good. Looking strong.
Right now, I'd love to see him switch gears and just go right back for the natural. This Casual has been on all the way to the western side here.
Yeah, certainly. And he's got ground. He's still getting the Forge upgrade, so he's going to be 3-3 in a couple minutes. So he's really setting himself up for success, even if this doesn't work out here. And he's got a Nidus, but you're going to have units come through there. And nice dive.
There's his 5th base established on the bottom, as Escalade does. He's taking on top left. This is a great position for our Protoss player.
Yeah, nicely done. Very nicely done.
One thing I do like this game is the supplies have been basically the same for the last maybe 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been 117 against like 60.
Yeah, this has been just non-stop action. Non-stop. And a really great, interesting choice, but I appreciate that he's still going Overlord site even at the end of it all. Still got these Corsairs too. And that's it.
GG. That was our best game so far.
Yeah, I really liked that one. That was very, very interesting style.
There's a lot of action. We got to see the aggressive side of Escalade, and Casual once again just kind of like struggled just a little bit and holding. You can see that all the pieces were in place. It just almost just barely didn't hold the same way that he did in the earlier TBZ.
Yeah. How'd you like the play out of the Protoss player? More specifically.
So I liked that play. I also feel like he could do a couple small things, like with the economy. That hidden base on the left-hand side was really what made all of that work, though. But the constant attacking, I personally would, if doing that, wait for like 2 rounds in between attacks rather than 1, or just dive in, then come back. I did really like Casual's Vagabond Zerg style of just pack up, head back home if he doesn't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know for you tend to have a little more of a conservative approach with your Protoss armies. especially when you're playing against me. You know, you come in, you do a lot of damage, and then you'll back off. Then you go right back to the center of the map. You know, always a different level of pressure. But knowing that your armies are always around and always in the center of the map is a little different than always having them in your face. But a very interesting comparison.
Well, the way that you make that work is by harassing with like shuttles or small groups of zealots. You can't just not attack one more time. But
True.
Our second TVZ of the night, we have bashing on the top right, and attendant we've seen some great ZVP out of on our bottom left.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's been awesome, especially as we've gone through this group to see these players play different races and different styles in those races. Very cool.
Well, I think they're pretty happy with the turn rate as well.
Yeah. Always a big deal. Always a big deal in the the world of
TVZ. I mean, you have muties and marines, and both of those you really want them to go where you want them to go.
Yeah, you need to, especially if you're going muties, you gotta have that good lag. Excuse me, that good turn rate. You don't want good lag. It's not what you want.
Well, it is good lag.
Oh, no that's lag. True. Yeah. You're a real glass half full guy. I'm enjoying this.
Alright, so is the attendant once again doing a great Overlord Scout over to spot the natural and then the main base on the bottom right. But that won't be where our Terran player bashing is. He is once again, I feel like he's going to do the same style again with the fast command center before gas, and then the two barracks play for stim. But we have seen attendant defend very well against early pressure against Protoss. How do you think he'll do against Terran?
I think it should be okay. Defending against Terran is a little different. I think you have to run a little bit more of a knife's edge in terms of I need to produce as few units as possible to hold off whatever Terran is throwing at me so that I can get this game going as long as I can so I can get to those 4 gases. So I think in that regard, he should be okay. But really, the first time we'll see that is when the Terran decides when am I going to push for the first major time, and that's really going to give us an indicator of how this match is going to go out and how attendance really going to deal with the aggression.
And even a step beyond that, when attendant feels that bashing is going to be pushing rather than when bashing actually is pushing.
Very true.
Go out, kill a bunch of limbs, and just sit there.
Yeah. He went for a few more drones before getting his gas. I like that. Really getting his economy up early.
That's been the way that he's been consistently playing. He really likes his high drone counts, and he really likes just getting the game going as quickly as possible, rather than going the aggressive plays.
Another third hatch. Cool. I'm so used to seeing 2 hatch play all the time. It's really nice to see kind of a return to that 3 hatch style, which had been so robust for so many years and has just recently not been as popular.
Well, I think for attendant, I think the 3 hatch style makes a bit more sense with the way that he likes to play. It's a much more economical and safe way to play.
Yeah.
Rather than the ultra aggressive, you have to do damage in the back of the meters of the 2 hatch play.
Yeah. There's a that knife's edge I was talking about is so much sharper with the 2 hatch. So much sharper. Because each larva you have is that much more important than if you have those extra 3 larvae from that third hatch.
Yep. And then once again from our Terran player, we have the command center before gas. He has both of his barracks up. He's producing pretty well, and I think we're going to go into a pretty nice game here. Yeah,
this is shaping up to be a good one. I have good feelings.
And now attendant has scouted both top left and bottom right. So he knows by process of elimination that he has the cross map. And I think for him, with his thought process and playstyle, he's going to be really happy about that.
Yeah. He's floating a lot of minerals. He can do a lot with that. It's be interesting to see if he's going to go layer or speed first with this 100 gas. That's going to be really our biggest indicator, because this is a fair number of lings.
Well, with this situation, he has no larva, but he's floating minerals off of 3 hatch. What would you do here? Would you just grab another hatchery, grab the layer?
I'd go lair immediately, like we're seeing here. He actually went lair and speed at the same time. Okay. And that's just because that gas built up over time. But, I mean, if you're floating that many minerals, you know, take your gas. Like, take your gas as soon as you can. Take the 3 drones you got. I mean, he has a tremendous number of drones. This is really great. But start moving up the tech tree, really. Stim's on the way.
And so's the engineering bay.
Nothing pretty standard. But bashing has been very consistent from what we've seen. And I really enjoy that. And we also saw this. He loves this early move out to take out the links, right? Deny that scouting, which is such a good maneuver.
And it's enough Marines there to where you really have to respect that. If he's going across the map, like we see a 3rd sunken colony going down already in response to it, that's huge.
This is interesting. We've seen a Hydra Den, so we're going to see lurkers. I think that style really, really suits a 10 tap. Like that, I like to drone a lot and I like to play defensively. Like I think this is the way he should be going. And I'm really interested to see how this shapes up, because if he goes and takes an early 3rd and really establishes it early with those defensive lurkers, he can tech very quickly and take this game to a late game where he's going to have a better chance of dealing with the Terran army.
And here we go into that knife's edge, and we have bashing just going home. He's not going to do his push this time.
But you know, with that tremendous amount of early droning, putting down 3 sunken colonies isn't as big of a deal as it would be in something like a 2-hatch. You know, that's really one of those huge advantages. I mean, this is great saturation. He's looking great here. I want to see him take a 3rd.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looks like it's enough to where he could be pretty comfortable with the 3rd.
He's looking good. He's got vision out here. He knows bashing isn't moving out. Take your 3rd base. Get those lurkers up there. Establish your foothold economically so you can start racing your way up that tech tree. Get yourself to the filers and really start asserting your map dominance.
He's getting that 2nd gas. Now, from here, from the Zerg perspective, do you think he should go for the mineral only and secure that high ground, or do you think he should go for 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Straight
gas. I think that's... I mean, here, like, the high ground is nice, but this has such a huge surface area to deal with. I mean, and ultimately what I think it really boils down to is, as a Zerg player playing against Terran, you need gas units. Ultimately, you're always going to need gas units. Everything you want costs gas. So getting that gas is paramount over getting mineral only. Because as you can see, he's floating tons of minerals. He's looking good right now.
Yeah, he's hurting for gas trying to get these lurkers up.
I'd love to see him cut 1 lurker and get +1 carapace. I think that would be a great maneuver.
Carapace as opposed to attack?
Yeah. That's gonna, since you're playing lurkers and links, that +1 carapace is going to allow you to do... You can be more aggressive with the very defensive-oriented lurkers. Just gives you a little more options, and your units are just more robust. I like the factory. I'd like to see a starport get put down pretty soon. Bashing at this point should know that we haven't seen any mutas. He should start to suspect, if already not confirmed, that there's some lurkers on the field, and he's going to need detection fast. It's actually running...
I'm also really liking Bashing's army movement. He went down, he checked the 6 o'clock because that's where he thought there was going to be a base, and then he just went home after there wasn't.
I figured for a second here that Attendant was going to come and try and cut off these Marines coming back, but that doesn't seem to be the case. He's actually... Although this seems premature, this is, I think, a decent decision. Saying, okay, I don't have any mobile detection, I'm going to come back home, I'm going to get a tower up, bunker up, so I don't get lurker busted, which is, you know, seems to be on Attendant's mind here.
Well, from Bashing's perspective, he scouted around for a 3rd base. He didn't see one. He didn't see top left. He thinks that this is just 2 base Zerg, which, without drones at top left yet, it still is. So he's just preparing for an all-in.
He's got to be careful here. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Beautiful. And you know, behind this, we're seeing that +1 carapace I was talking about earlier, and the Queen's Nest is already done. He can really race into Hive. Attendant's looking good right here. Looking real good.
I'm just really liking his play all around today. He's been playing some great games today.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure to watch. Great move, throwing down an extra hatchery. Really starting to get that economy going on that 3rd base. Get that gas soon. Another Evo chamber. Good decision. He doesn't need to commit here, and he's not, and I like that. You don't have to move in. You don't have to be aggressive.
Well, he's just holding this position. He knows that Bashing is going to have to commit to getting out of here. And on top of that, he has such a long rush distance across the map, so where he can just freely drone and do whatever he wants until his little contain is broken.
Yeah, certainly. I like this sieging up here. I think it's hard to say what the best decision for Bashing is here, since I'm not a Terran player. But I'd like to see one vessel coming out for that mobile detection. And then I think it would be very good to get a dropship. Really give yourself a little map security, if you will. Really see if you can go push out over here. Because with lurkers, they're very powerful in that one position. But as soon as you force them to move, they lose all their efficacy until they're burrowed again.
I would also like kind of like a couple more tanks along with that vessel. And just slowly whittle away and try to lower the links in and just break the contain, grab the third, take it into late game. Yeah.
You know, and looks can be deceptive. We have a lurker contain right now, but truly the Terran player can hang out on 2 bases for a very long time and be comfortable. As soon as he takes this out and really starts to push his way out onto the map, he's going to be in a good position and he can take a quick third and really be back into this game almost instantly.
Yep, and then it looks like Bashing is actually going for that slow, do some damage to the tanks and just slowly break through, because he doesn't need to push out all that quickly against a 3-gas Zerg. If it was a 4-gas Zerg, that would be a totally different story. Yeah. This drone count is awesome. I mean, as I'm saying earlier, it would be. I think that this 3-hatch lurker style would be good for him because he's so drone heavy and he likes to play, very solid with good decision making, and we're seeing that right now. He's floating a ton of minerals. He's got a lot of gas. He can do whatever he wants at this point. And as long as he's getting whatever he wants is Ultralisks.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seemed like at that point, we've been hitting the upgrades early, the melee and the carapace, and he's just going to go straight into Ultras, which is great. He's only now getting inspired.
And these units up at the top right have already done their job. They slowed down the Terran, they kept the pressure on. It doesn't matter if the Terran breaks through here now, he's already done what he wanted. Yeah.
No, looking good. He's a lot of links. Really good. I'd like to see with this amount of resources and income. I mean, he's got 50 drones almost. That's really great. I'd love to see more gas units. I want to see more lurkers. But right now, I mean, he's saving up for that ultra dump, which there's 8 coming. There it is.
All the gas is in an instant.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I would also like to see, because he's buying so many links, that takes up a lot of larvae and not a lot of minerals. So I'd like to see an extra hatchery or 2 just to help with the larvae.
Certainly. And now, this is strong. This is very good. And we got to remember that these ultras don't have speed, and I don't believe they have carapace either. So they're very strong, but they're not as strong as they could be. So there's a timing window here where Bashing will be able to move in, and he's going to be able to take out all of these Zerglings very easily if he has good micro. And he could do some serious damage before these ultras are out.
And speaking of, Carapace is being upgraded now, so this is definitely going to hit before those Ultralisks upgrades come into play.
Yeah, certainly. He's got to be aware of these lurkers, but I think that with these number of Marines, he can do serious damage here. He's leaving a few guys behind. Get him up there. All right, here we go. He's got good spread here, very good spread. Tanks are doing a lot of damage, nice to radiate, but this is a lot. And there's a counterattack.
Those bunkers from earlier.
Yeah.
Counterattack. I think this just resets and it comes back into a continuing game.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, he took out 4 ultras, which is always good, reducing that count. And he's got the science vessels here. I'd love to see another starport, maybe even another factory if he can, and really just get that vessel count up.
One thing I'd really like to see is the mineral patches in Bashing's main are starting to get a little bit low. I'd like to see him start to think about that third and just keep that economy rolling.
Yeah, even if that third is just the mineral only, even so, just get something out there and keep that production moving. Because there seems to be a split second when you run out of minerals. There's about 20 seconds there where you're like, oh, I'm looking good, and then your income immediately drops, and then you're in a terrible position. So really staving that off is the way to do it. And we're seeing another 6 ultras coming out,
and these are going to have
these have armor. These are some strong cows, and they're going to be fast here pretty soon too. So this is looking This is looking dire. He's gonna. I think Bastion's gonna need to be more aggressive with his irradiates, and he's gonna have to spend more time out on the map. Right? He knows he hasn't seen any Scourge recently, so he knows he's gonna be able to kind of have free reign with a little bit of caution, and he can start throwing down irradiates and doing a lot of damage to these armies and these ultras before they even engage, which it looks like we're doing right now. This is great. Great move.
Well, how do you feel about the vessel count being almost equal to the, well, not anymore, but it was equal to the Ultralisk count? Those irradiates are taking out a lot of Zerglings.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want as the Terran player. You want to soften up this army so when you actually engage each other, you don't have to deal nearly as much. Alright, and we're seeing that line here. He's got to really get this stuff organized, though. He's doing a lot of damage, but you can't trickle in like this with the Ultras. And speed's about to finish, so these Ultras are about to get a lot more dangerous, especially with the speed.
But also, from the Terran perspective, it looks like he was thinking about that third. That 10 does have that fourth, so he's going to have 4 gas soon. And it just looks like he's going to have a little bit longer too, while...
Yeah. Making good decisions. Both sides are making good decisions. I think Attendant could go more Scourge, make his life a little bit easier dealing with these science vessels, because keeping that science vessel number down, especially when you have Ultras, is so important. And I like the 4th gas coming up.
I mean, those 5 or 6 irradiates wiped out at least a control group of Zerglings.
Oh, yeah. And this is looking good. All right. Oh, they're just melting right now. Just melting. But these Ultras are going to be able to do some serious work here. It's close. And we got some reinforcements here, too. Yeah, relatively even trade. Looking good. So even if he loses all these... Okay, we got some... Ooh, we got 14 Zerglings coming, too. And these are going to have +3 Carapace soon. So looking really strong. Really, really strong.
But the one thing that does concern me is we didn't take that third on the high ground when we had the chance. So now it's just we're starting to mine out. On a clock.
Yeah, certainly. And you could always come down here and take this. Was that 3 o'clock? There we go, 3 o'clock. He could take the 3 o'clock if you want to, but he's gonna have to deal with these Ultras first. Nice irradiates. Nice irradiates.
11 kill Ultralisk.
So many Zerglings. So many Zerglings. But all these Ultras are low. Really, really low. So really, he's mostly contending with just Lings right now. So as long as he gets out, he could do a round of Fire Bats right now if he really wanted to. Might be able to deal with that a little better. Throw down some stims.
What I like here against the Lings is this medic count is great. They're kind of create a nice little wall for the Marines to just keep shooting.
He has so many vessels. Start throwing down some defensive matrices. Wow, he's really, yeah, and this is where I was talking about keeping that vessel count down is important, because with this number of vessels, you can just irradiate all 7 of these Ultras that are coming out right now. And we do see a Defiler Mound, which is good, but Scourge.
I would love to see just like 2 control groups of Scourge just go for it.
Yeah, or even a Plague or 2. You know, just something to keep that number down. Because although he doesn't have a tremendous number of Marines, these science vessels, look at that, 16 kills for one science vessel, 9 for another, 13 for another. Just tremendous damage.
And there's 11 of them there, and he's still making out of 2. Oh, he's making drop ships actually out of the Starforge. I love it.
Nice. And these gas, you know, this main gas is getting low. It's only got 500 left, so you can't really continue this massive Ultra production until you get this 4th gas online.
Well, the same thing can be said about the science vessels, but he's not losing them. So he doesn't necessarily have, there's the
beautiful,
Scourge.
beautiful. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Only one though.
No.
Only one. See, but these Lings are powerful. I mean, despite the fact that Lings aren't really that great on their own, he's got a lot of them. And they're 2-1 right now, and they're about to be 3-1. And with these Ultras, if he leads in with the Ultras and comes in with a fair group of these Lings, I think he could do some serious damage here. Because this base is absolutely vital.
Well, this base is everything for the Terran.
Yeah.
He's already mined out on his main. If he loses his base, it's 1 base on him.
My goodness, this is a great game. Very back and forth.
There's
Look at
that defensive matrix on the Marine. Killed both Ultras.
Look at the number of hatcheries we've got. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome.
Well, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. He just, with all of these links, he's using up all his larvae. He still has money to buy more stuff.
Yeah.
So more hatches. Huge, great decision.
Yeah, this is a very entertaining game. I'm enjoying this a lot. Very much. We just need more Marines. That's the main thing. Put down a couple more racks and really get that production going, you know? Because these Marines are doing work. Beautiful D-Matrix. Beautiful. So nicely done.
The nice thing, though, is he only has one factory, but he's consistently able to keep enough tanks out to really be a threat.
Yeah. And we're actually mined out here in the main.
Oh, but the top left.
Beautiful drop. Oh my goodness.
That's where all the hatcheries are.
So well done.
He takes out those hatcheries, there's no production.
Mm-hmm. And we're left with two almost completely mined out areas, the main and the natural. Nicely done.
There's no answer for this either.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough units. Wow. Talk about pulling water from a stone. That was nice. Very nicely done.
Oh, and at the same time, he's mined out both his main and natural. This is all of his economy and his production at the same time. I think this might have been a game-winning move.
Yeah, this was excellent. Excellent maneuver. I commend the commitment to the Zerglings, but man, lurkers are irreplaceable when it comes to taking out Marines.
Oh yeah,
beautiful
just that splash damage is so amazing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And he's not even doing anything with these science vessels. He could be going and erasing, doing some eraser tricks down at the natural if he wanted to. But this is doing it. Nicely done.
I think in this game we've seen some really great play out of both players. That was just that one move with those drop shoots was just so huge to turn the tide so quickly.
Yeah, a phenomenal early game from a 10-tab. I mean, talk about great decision making. Start off early, drone really hard, comfortably take your third, get a really nice contain, and there it is. Good game, well played. Very true, very true.
Great game to watch, great game to pass.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
Good job.
Awesome. A pleasure.
And with that, I think a 10-tab is still leading the group with 2 wins to 1 loss.
Yeah, I think he's been looking good. He's been looking good.
One loss, one loss, he still looked pretty even. We was in it all the way up to the end.
Nice to see Bashing up on the charts though. He got his first win.
Well, Bashing beat.
Or did he take out Casual?
Yes, he did beat
That's
Casual.
right.
With that amazing push he managed to break early on.
That's right.
Cracks.
That's right. Oh, we got a TVP coming up here. Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay. Now we're going to get to see Bashing playing against Escalade. So, TVP, totally different flavor from TVZ. Positioning is a little more important.
Well, it's also a much slower style as well from the Terran perspective. You're going from fast, mobile marine medic to very slow tanks with entrenched positions.
Yeah, certainly.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing what our bottom right-hand Protoss player Escalade has to do. He's been very aggressive in his Protoss Berserk games, and that could translate to some really interesting play against our hero Bashing here up in the top left.
Yeah, I'm very curious. That grinding style that we had been talking about is so great playing against a Terran player. Just throwing units at them constantly forcing intention. Really doing well. Good job breaking positions. That is a phenomenal skill to have against a Terran player, and he seems to have it in spades so far. I'm going to be very interested to see if he manages to translate that over to this matchup.
Well, I would love to see for him to go to something like Arbiter style play, because I think that fits his ideas, his style so well. Recall, I feel like that's the way he's going to do this, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. This is very cool, very very cool. I've got investment,
And one other thing I do like here is with the cross spawns, with Terran versus Protoss, there's some really strong pushes the Terran can do. If, say, Protoss was top right and they had that high ground, they can push the high ground and really contain. But with cross spawns, it's pretty much in Protoss's favor.
As a cross spawn, as a Protoss player, you're less likely to deal with those early pushes. How do you feel about taking a really quick third then?
I like it. A lot. I like a 5:30, 6-minute third, especially with getting that high ground as well to secure that on this map in these positions. Because any push that would punish it is super slow. Like a 4 barracks or 5 barracks push that would normally be the move for that, they have to cross such a long distance where you can counterattack, poke, and that's exactly the kind of play that Escalade likes to do.
Certainly. How do you feel about going early Zealot? Do you like to go Zealot first, or do you like to go Dragoon first?
I personally prefer Dragoon first. Early Zealot would be much stronger on like a 2-player map where you know that you can get it in. If you're sending an early Zealot and say it goes to like bottom left rather than to the Terran base, it's not really going to do much, and you're just sending your build behind. You're actually losing a probe by doing so.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. And then in cross spawns, you're not going to want to do that early Zealot anyway. It's just going to take so long to get over there. You might as well just skip to that first Dragoon.
Plus, if he was going to go early Zealot, he most likely would have put the gateway a little bit closer to the ramp or even on the low ground.
Certainly.
A lot of times that early Zealot is followed up with a fast Nexus as well.
One thing I really noticed is Escalade doesn't have a very high APM, but despite that, his macro is very consistent. It seems like he's a very efficient player, and I like that a lot. You
do get that sometimes with the Protoss players. They just focus on their builds, hitting their marks, and they don't really spam as much. Because this, say, Bashing's 240 APM right now, that's not really necessary this early in the game, as someone who likes to keep my fingers warm early in the game as well.
Yeah. You know, it's all about being able to maintain that speed into the mid and the late game. That's really the determining factor.
Oh, the probe survives.
Nice.
So we have a 2-gate range play here. I like this because we're looking at a factory expand, it looks like. Yep, factory expand. So he's going to have the bunker up for a little bit, and he's going to be able to take a couple shots on that and force the Terran player Bashing to do some repair work.
Yeah, certainly.
Now, here's the thing with that. You want 1 SCV for every Dragoon that's shooting, and each SCV is about 100 minerals per minute.
It's expensive.
That you are costing. That can delay like a whole factory.
Certainly. You got to have the Dragoons really to the Dragoon production behind that to do that sustained damage. And he's really getting that first. He's getting his 3rd and 4th Dragoons out now. But I like this Robo. I like this Robo a lot. A lot of choices there.
2K Robo is absolutely a very solid and safe way to play. Looks like he's going to take a Nexus with it. And I wonder, the question is if he's going to go Reaver or Observer here.
Yeah.
Oh, that tank chasing off that Dragoon. If the other Dragoons were there, that would be such a huge move.
Yeah, I was a little concerned there for a moment, but he pulled it back.
There's that first like 2 or 3 tanks are everything in this matchup.
Oh, yeah, you even lose one. I mean, the ability for the Protoss player to, and this is true across all of the early and mid game for Protoss, their ability to just pounce on you and break you is unbelievable. You have to play so defensively, and you got to have all of your ducks in a row. You got to be making good decisions the whole time.
And you get the feeling, based off of the games that we've seen out of Escalade, that he's the type of player who is going to take advantage of those opportunities when they present themselves to him.
And in true Escalade fashion, he's going Reavers. I like it a lot.
I love it.
Yeah.
We do have the engineering bay up, so we'll probably see a nice little turret ring. But you never know if he's going to be able to find a nice little hole to sneak through and wipe out a couple SUVs.
Certainly, yeah. That was a good move. Oh, beautiful scout. I didn't even see this. Beautiful scout from Bashing. Oh, consistent with every other game we've seen out of him. Gets in there, sees the Reavers coming, confirms it all, knows that the Nexus isn't done at the natural. Beautiful.
And that's huge as well, because knowing that it's Reaver means he can set up his turrets in a different fashion than he would against, say, TT. Against TT, you want to keep a little bit tighter. Against Reaver, you want more of like a overarching circles so the Reaver can't land and take out the turrets.
Yeah. Certainly. It's an interesting one. Observer's out. Now this is the early observer, especially for an aggressive player that likes to make decisions. There must be a rally point going on here. Or Bashing is just loving playing with fire, because he keeps moving these tanks out and trying to bait in those Dragoons.
I think he's going to try to bait them in to take them out with the siege tanks. This I really like. This observer time is great. So we're looking at roughly around 7 minutes. That's when Terran's going to want to start putting down their factories if they're going for more aggressive play, or start committing to a third.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is, the observer is such a key component, especially for an aggressive player, because it's going to allow you so much information and the ability to make those split-second decisions on whether or not to pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. So he's following it up with the Reaver. No, I don't see the Reaver or Shuttle yet, though.
He's going Zealot legs, actually, first.
Very interesting play.
Yeah.
He does confirm that there's only 2 factories, so he's not in any immediate threat of any push. And he can basically do whatever he wants. He could expand here, he can tech, whichever way he wants to go, he has the opportunity.
Well, consider for a sec, he's actually going Templar really quick. Consider, Bashing gets off this very unorthodox scout at an interesting time and says, oh, you're going Reavers. So, Escalade can say, all right, you know that I'm going Reavers, so I'm actually going to cancel that Reaver tech and I'm going to go into an early Zealot push and I'm going to put way more pressure on you and your turrets aren't even going to matter.
And he is getting a shuttle, so a Bulldog attack on this natural is a possibility.
Yeah.
But we do have a probe here on the bottom left. He has around 400 minerals. Yep, that's a Nexus.
Oh, yeah.
I love that play. Just a little hidden Nexus. Bashing is great at scouting, so he might see that. But if he doesn't, and that gets established, it's going to be so big for our Protoss player.
Yeah. Mine's on the way. We're going up to that 5 factories. Really nice.
We already have the armory. We have +1 halfway done.
Now we're looking good.
Now with the 5 factory count, it's not all in. It's not like signifying a push like the 6 factory might. This could very easily still be grab a third and play just for that long macro.
Yeah, definitely. It leaves a lot of options open for Bashing. In the same way that with 5, he's actually got very healthy count. And it's possible if Escalade loses this first engagement that he just gets rolled over. We're actually seeing that Reaver now, though. So he delayed it by quite a bit, but he's still going for it.
Yep. One thing I would like to see out of Escalade now is he sees all of these factories going down. I'd like to see him go up to like 8 gateways, maybe even 9 or 10 gateways, and just take advantage of that 3 base economy and start pounding out units for the inevitable push down the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Those Terran mech units are so strong.
Oh yeah. You're kind of against the clock. You have to play a war of attrition at certain points in the matchup.
There's our probe transfer across the map, so that 3rd base is going to be established very soon.
Okay. Very aggressive from Bashing. It's really forcing a fight here. And I'm thinking he's starting to sense that Escalade just does not have very many units. You're only producing off of 3 gates here. Ooh.
I mean, he lost, what, like 4 Dragoons there just in that initial attack?
Yeah, certainly. And he doesn't even need siege at this point. Bashing can just move forward and just begin
siege anyway, right in the middle of the map.
Yeah, you might as well. And this is nowhere near enough units to be able to break this. Just 3 volleys and it's all gone. He just sieges right there.
And nice. I think without the mass gateway count to get that army right back out.
Yeah, and
just walk over.
I think he'd be in a significantly better position if this Reaver was with that initial attack, but he's going up here to bank on getting some damage done at the natural, which it looks like he's going to do, but he's going to have to survive this attack at the front.
Oh yeah, with how clumped up all these tanks are, those Reaver shots, 2 Reaver shots can kill like maybe 3 tanks.
Yeah, we're seeing half and half here. So although this is some great economic damage, 2.
Oh, and that Dark Templar with the mines. Oh, he scans it. He sees it. What a great play by Bashing.
All over it. All over it.
But he still never learned about that bottom left, so it's a good thing that this push worked out for him.
Great 16 kills on the Reaver, but it's not worth the trade with the. It's not worth the trade at your Nexus, your natural. You tapped out. Nicely done.
And that puts Bashing at the top of our group here. He's currently 3-0.
Nice.
Some great play.
Yeah. Yeah. Really taking some good initiative. He takes good initiative at the right times.
Well, I also like that he has what feels like a very standard, stable play. He's doing the same. He did the same thing both of his Terran versus Zerg plays, and I feel like when we see him play against another Protoss player, he's going to do a very similar style as well.
Certainly,
he just has a very stable setup for each matchup.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job. It's been that TVZ was a pleasure to watch from both ends, but especially with Bashing not losing his cool under all that pressure from the Zerg player. Knowing that he's behind on a lot of things, he's been lurker contained.
After seeing just how many drones went out early in that game, that was such a great game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, and we have the other Terran versus Protoss. We have Bashing in the top right and Reef on the bottom right. How do you think this game's gonna go?
I think if Bashing continues to bring that really early, strong style that he had with the good, solid decision-making, I think he's going to be good to go. I mean, he's consistently been making good decisions. And that's one of the hardest parts of StarCraft.
Those good decisions are coming at the expense of his amazing scouting. Every game, he's seen almost everything. Like, he's able to slip these SCVs through in places where you would not expect them to. That Reaver that he scouted last game was amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I was preoccupied with his natural and whatnot, and I was like, my God, there's actually an SCV in this base. Behind his mineral line, for God's sake. So I'd be interested to see if he's going to do that same standard, very rock-solid 5-factory style.
I think that would be extremely strong with these positions. And this goes back into where I was saying last game at the beginning of the game, how the positions on this map, Terran versus Protoss, really changed the layout of the game.
Yeah.
You have the Protoss high ground right in the path of push.
Yeah.
Now, if he pushes early enough to take advantage of that and secures that contain right there, that is massive.
Yeah, and we noticed, well, I'm very interested to see, so Escalade, very aggressive. Reef was playing a more solid defensive Forge First style versus our earlier Zergs. So I'm going to be interested to see if he brings that same style here to against a Terran player, where you might have to be a little more aggressive here and there, and you're going to have to take more risks, and you're going to have to be willing to trade a lot of your units away for the Terran's tanks, so that later on, they don't reach a critical mass.
Well, alternatively, you can also go with the approach of just sit back and wait for them to come to you and play a little bit less aggressively.
Certainly.
Works very well for the Protoss player, and I think that might be the way that Reef goes. And at least in comparison to Escalade, he's a much less aggressive player.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. This has been a great series. This has been a great group.
Oh, it has. Absolutely.
We've had a lot of great games. Every single one of them has been very good, actually, now that I think about it.
Alright, so we see very standard openings out of both players right now. I really like the placement of the supply depot and barracks out of Bashing in case there's any zealot shenanigans early on. Might be around it.
Certainly. Factory forward. Yeah, he's and I think that's indicative of that decision making, that sort of forward thinking. Saying, yeah, I might have to deal with an early zealot, so I'm just going to close off this back mineral line, so that's not even an issue,
And we have a fast robotics out of Reef. Oh, this is going to get really interesting really quick. He skipped range for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm feeling a Reaver out of this.
Yeah. Less likely, but still plausible, would be the elevator. But he's only got that one gate, so you talk about putting all your hedges in one bet, But an early Reaver would be very nice to see.
Well, it looks like Bashing, as I predicted earlier, is a very consistent, solid player. He's going for. He looks like he's going for the same build that he went last game against Escalade.
Yeah.
And that's going to be very interesting with these positions, because the Reaver can go into this natural pretty easily and get behind those minerals from these positions.
And he's going to get this scout off. Oh, so good. So good. He sees the robo. He knows it's early. He knows there's no range. Well, he can't confirm whether or not there's no range coming, but...
He didn't see the core, so he doesn't know necessarily if it's Reaver or if it's Observers, but I would, from that scout, be looking for Reavers.
Yeah. Just a safer bet of the two.
But at the same time, he's getting an Observatory, and I don't see a support back.
Yeah.
It looks like another two-gate robo into expand.
Yeah. It's been very consistent across both games.
Oh, this is beautiful. He's getting that engineering bay for the Reavers. He's going to put up a couple turrets just to be safe. And he's even getting a bunker at the front, even though there's no pressure coming out yet.
Nothing but expectations for him. He's saying, okay, you can be aggressive towards me. You know, I think you might be going Reavers, but I can't confirm one way or the other, so we're throwing up a bunker and we're going to get some turrets going. Continual tank production. Very nicely. Very nicely done.
It's just solid all-around play. He's also delaying his siege mode as well, so he can get everything else up around it.
Nice. Yeah.
Which against Reavers, you don't necessarily want siege mode, because the zealots that drop with it drop right on top.
Yeah, and this looks like this might be a really fast third too. So interesting, very interesting. I like what's going on from Reef too.
Alright, so he's getting his turrets up. He's building an academy. That's a pretty quick academy.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a quick third. It's looking like it's around the 6-minute third base out of Reef.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. That was something that you liked on these larger 4-player maps.
Well, I like it a little bit more with the farther spawns. With this spawn, if he gets a high ground though, it can be pretty tough to move all of his units out of his natural.
Yeah.
But with this decision for base, he also won't be under threat necessarily with that push.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the observer placement. The one that's right out front, he'll be able to see anything moving out. And the other one right onto factories, he sees the armory before second factory. So this third base of his, he can even grab a fourth one maybe. Because there is no push coming anytime soon.
Yeah. One thing I love about this matchup is not much can happen for the first 6 to 7 minutes. And then a Reaver will come out, or the Protoss player will make a decision, and then suddenly there's an engagement. And sometimes the match just ends, you know?
Oh yeah. Early game is definitely Protoss has the decision making. They kind of control the way the game is going to go. But then it really switches when you get to those 4 to 6 factory timings, or whether or not the Terran wants to grab his third.
Yeah. I love how consistent the worker production is for both of these guys. Just solid, always within 1 to 2 SUVs and probes of each other. Very nicely done.
I do expect the probe count to go up a little bit with that third Nexus though.
Certainly, yeah. Then this is where you start to see that economic just lead is going to be taken by the Protoss, which is so necessary for that gateway explosion to deal with the power of tanks.
Absolutely. So we do see a 4th gateway down. It looks like he's going to start making a few more gateways to be supported by he's making a forge as well.
This is looking like it's going to be a longer one than our last game.
It looks like Bashing is going for the same style. He's going for that +1 5-factory push. Very solid play. He's got a lot of tanks off of 1 factory, and he's going to make a bunch of vultures out of the other ones. So, the lack of the second machine shop says to me that he's probably going to push earlier.
Very good. Six tanks. We're going to start seeing a bunch of vultures being produced.
And then we're getting our gateway count up in response. We're getting our Citadel of Dune. So this is looking like it's shaping up to be a pretty good game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like what's going on.
Oh, 6 Factory. He's getting the 6 Factory. This is absolutely going to be a very hardcore push.
Nice. Nice bashing.
She's going to bash down the front.
Yeah, yeah. Consistent with his last game. That's for sure. So I'll be interested to see how Reef deals with this. I'd like to see his goons spread a little bit more here on the high ground. I wish he was taking this high ground and kind of swinging out towards the south.
I do wonder, though, Bashing only built 5 factories last game. I wonder what made him decide to build the 6th one, if it was the positioning or if it was the early third, if he scanned that. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, part of me thinks that it might have been just the lack of, I don't think he feels very much pressure from Reef. He's not running into any goons as he slowly moves out. He's not seeing any shuttles. He knows there's observers around, but I get the feeling that he feels he has a lot of room to breathe, and he's going to start taking advantage of that.
Oh, absolutely. That's a direct response to Reef, just kind of sitting back and waiting for Bashing to make the first move. What I would like to see out of Reef, though, is just a couple more gateways to deal with this 6 fact. You really want to have around like 8 to 10 gateways.
These goons don't have range. This is a really strong fight for Bashing. Oh yeah, Zealots, no Zealot speed, no goon range.
Firing on the tanks.
Oof. Yeah. Decently trading a little bit. Might be able to take out a few more tanks, but looking strong.
I don't think he did enough there. That was such a huge win by our turn player Bashing. I think all he has to do is just make a couple rounds of vultures, and he can continue with this push.
Yeah, I think that if Reef had pulled back until just for those 10 seconds, and then re-engaged with a better concave, I think he would have done a lot more damage and would have been in a better position. But he's got to be sure not to throw away these goons.
The other thing, the lack of goon range is massive against tanks.
Oh, certainly.
Goons with range out basically have the same range as tanks on siege, so they can fight on even footing then.
Yeah.
But when there's siege, you can't even hit them.
Yeah, and now we're seeing every Protoss player's nightmare, which is tanks in your natural. Tanks in your natural, and you don't have any shuttles.
And that mine drag took out the tank, took out all the SCVs. That might just be what Reef needs.
Yeah, yeah. Really strong. Looking really strong. Nice. Nice mine drag.
From the Protoss perspective here, the way I'm seeing out of this is just mine drags and falling right on top of the tanks, and that's exactly what Reef's doing.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, he's doing the best with what he's got right now, and I like that.
Here comes that reinforcement of vultures, and this natural's down. If you can hold the ramp, I think you can still stay in this game for a little while.
Yeah. Got to mix in a couple more dragoons here, though.
But this goes back into needing more gates when you're dealing with like a 6 factory push.
Certainly, yeah.
It hits so much harder than a 5 factory.
Yeah, I mean, Bashing's looking really good behind this. He can take his third. There it is.
And there we go. Very well played by Bashing. All of his games tonight, pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah, he's been consistent. Man, he's been real consistent. That's actually our last game out of him.
Yeah, and it looks like out of everything that he has done, he has been very consistent. Both of his matchups, he did extremely similar builds. You can tell that he's practiced a lot. Yeah. I'm very excited to see these last 2 games out of Reef. Very excited. I was very impressed. I very much enjoyed his earlier game versus Zerg, and I felt that last game wasn't a good representation of him. I'm very excited to see him go against Casual here now, and then Escalade afterwards. I'm very excited for Escalade and him, actually, in that PvP. I have a feeling we're going to see 2 gates or DT. Yeah. That'd be consistent, right? Let's get into it. Alright, so we have bottom right, we have Reef, our blue Protoss, and bottom left we have Casual, our yellow Zerg. So this should be a pretty good map. this should be a pretty good matchup. So we've seen a couple different things out of both these players with the earlier Protoss versus Zergs and Zerg versus Protoss. How do you think this match will shape up?
I would like to see. I'm not even going to say that. I would be interested to see what Reef's opener is more than Casuals. Actually, I think we'll see that Forge with the 2 cannons again. But if he decided to go Gateway, I'd be very interested to see how he does with that too. Because that is an opener that requires a lot more attention to detail and is a little bit harder to pull off.
That's also the opener that we haven't necessarily seen tonight. We've seen 2 Gate and we've seen Forge first, but we haven't seen Gateway first.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like this with this pylon is probably going to be a Forge first, the same way that he went last game.
Yeah. And that's a 9 pool out of Casual again. He really likes those 9 pools. And that's gonna match up well versus the Forge, actually.
If this is a 9 pool speed, I really like that against Forge, but it looks like it's an extractor trick.
Yeah, the 9 pool speed has... that is like... You can do some serious damage with that.
How do you feel about the extractor trick, though? I mean, it gets him the extra drone, it gets him a little bit more economy, and he doesn't have to get the overloaded squig.
Yeah, some players really like it. I personally have never really done it. It's just not something that I tend to do. But, I mean, with that extra minerals and that extra drone, it's going to put you in a little bit better position. And it gives you something to do in the early game. That's always a plus,
Oh, absolutely.
And we do actually have that Forge first. We see 1 cannon going down, and it looks like there's going to be a second. Reef seems like a very solid, very consistent Protoss player in the same vein of Bastion. The style that he likes to play, and he's probably quite good at it. And he's very good on honing in on the responses from the enemy to his specific build.
Now, in this case against 9 pool, I actually do really like these 2 photon cannons. Because especially if there was speed, that's just such a huge deal. You don't get any chance of any run by. You don't have to deal with the lings and your probes.
Yeah, he's in a great position right now. Very safe. Doesn't have to worry about much. He can spend most of his time worrying about what the Zerg player is going to do next with his scout, and he can go quickly take his nexus.
And this probe is going to stay alive for so long with all 6 of these lings sitting up at the front. Yeah,
he's going to get all the information he wants, I think. Third base. Interesting choice on the third base. It's I never really want to expand towards a Protoss player, especially if they're doing a gate opener. And it's a little safer versus a Forge first, but ultimately, you're expanding towards your opponent, and that's always a little cause for concern as a Zerg player. You really want as much space as you can. So I would have preferred that 6 o'clock over here, 9 o'clock over here. But to each his own. Maybe he wants those early minerals for some really ling-heavy play. Who knows?
I personally like it because that is a great place to rally all of your army. And so with all of your army there, it's going to be easily defendable. And especially if you go for a Hydra or even a Hydra Lurker play, it's just going to be really strong. Oh, but we have the Overlord flying in. Does he save it? Not.
But he is going Hydras behind this. Oh!
He feels the pain.
Yeah, he knows what it's like.
Now, Casual was the one who, against the Terran players, he was putting his Overlords in awkward positions rather than scouting them.
Yeah, so I think this is a consistent feeling for him. I like the Hydra Den. I like the early Hydra speed. And I think we're going to see some in line with the somewhat aggressive 9 pool early. And the forcing of cannons, we might see some early Hydras, so really force out some cannons. So the decision after that is, do I want to all in with these Hydras, or do I want to really force some cannons and then macro behind it?
Well, it's also that with the Hydra Den scouted, that alone is so big because it's a pretty early Hydra Den with basically no drones out, and Reef saw that.
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to mind game him a little bit and get him to build a bunch of cannons that he wouldn't actually need, but he's not falling for it.
Yeah. No, remaining solid. Remaining solid. like it. Reef doesn't seem to be very swayed by his scouting at that early Hydra dump. And that's a sign of a Protoss player that isn't going to overreact to things, which is a very easy way to lose a game. You know, I'm sure you've experienced overbuilding cannons and putting yourself behind later on, and then having a hard time as the game moves on.
Oh, absolutely. It's basically the same feeling as overbuilding units, not building drones, and realizing, oh, I didn't have to do that.
Yeah. And you're the only one looking at the gun that just shot yourself in the foot with, you know?
Well, mind games work that way.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
So I like this quite a bit. He's building the Zealots out of 2 gateways. He has +1 coming really quick, and he has a Robo, so maybe he's going for some shuttle play.
Yeah, this could get spicy really fast. I like this a lot. Very exciting. Very exciting.
I think a shuttle here would be so great and so powerful because we have these lings here. They'll see when the Zealots move out, but they won't see if a shuttle goes straight for the main.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hydra speed is done. His range is nearly there, so he can start to put some real pressure on this forge, and he could possibly take this thing down before +1 actually finishes.
So he'll need range in order to take that down, but that is done now. I think he should be picking out this to try to get rid of +1, because +1 against Hydras and Lings is so strong.
Oh, it's such a ridiculously powerful. Oh, you can't afford to throw away these Hydras, though. Reef's looking better and better as time goes on here. But I will say, Casual still got some good droning here. He's looking pretty healthy. So although he went those early Hydras, he's not overcommitting to them, which is nice.
No, it looked like he only put like, what, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
And then went right back to droning. So it was pretty good. It was a good fake out. And if the SimCity wasn't as good from Reef, he would have been able to kill like a gateway or a forge or something like that.
Certainly. Yeah.
So I'd say it's definitely a good play, definitely worth it. And his drone count is a little bit low, but it's not the end of the world.
And that's really just because he's really sunken up very hard. Enos has kind of mind gamed himself, you know.
I don't know. This is looking like a pretty dangerous Zealot move out.
Yeah, he should have enough Hydras here to deal with this though. As long as he bunches them up and he's got decent micro, because legs they're not done yet, and they're not going to be done for another minute or so.
And that's a result of him going for the Robo first.
Yeah. And he doesn't seem to have done much with this Robo. I wish that he had gotten at least, he's got the minerals for it. Just get a shuttle out. See what you can do with it. Put some pressure.
Worried about the possibility of quick lurker, because he got the observador as well. And that's usually a symptom that he's worried about lurker. But I also feel like he would have gotten a couple of Dragoons in that case as well.
Yeah.
And there's Templar Archives about halfway done, so we're not going to see Storm for a long time here.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit on the... Reef is going to be a little bit on the back foot, and we're going to see him attempt to take that third in a really explosive fashion. Because right now he's got to be a little more conservative. I think that once legs are done, he's going to have to start getting some map control, though. Get out there, figure out what Casual is doing, and see what he can do.
So I'm liking this from the Zerg perspective at the moment. This Hydra count is absolutely dangerous. We have Storm delayed, and these Zealots, they do have leg speed now, but it's just a bunch of Zealots against a large amount of Hydras. Yeah,
I like it. The trade-off is that low drone count. I love that he's got a lot of Hydras, but I think he needs to start switching very, very soon into... Well, he actually has a Spire coming. Oh. There's a little bit of engage here. These Hydras are going to pay for themselves right now. Especially with these Sunkens in back.
And that's good pressure from Reef. He's really keeping Casual, forcing him back to play much more defensively, when it looked like he wanted to move out and start going on the offense with those Hydras. Now I would like to see some drones out and really start compound this little army advantage and turn it into an economic advantage for the long game.
Yeah, we're seeing that 9 drone dump here, which is great. That's a great start here. Because he's got a low drone count, and when you have a low drone count, even with this natural extractor, you can't afford to use it because you just don't have enough drones on minerals.
And I'd also like to see a fourth base that has gas.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Reef's going to just take a pretty bold third here pretty soon. And he can do that now, you know. He's got Storm.
He's taking double expand. Very bold. But he has the gateways to back it up. Yeah.
Kind of dumped a lot of money really early on, and for, you know, the next maybe minute and a half until these Nexi come up, he's going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage, tiny bit, but I don't think he's in any trouble at all. He can more than make up for it. He's got good storms, he's got a couple DTs, a lot of zealots, real strong, looking really good.
Oh, I'm loving this composition with the DT in there as well. I mean, the Overlords aren't really being very aggressive, so those DTs can kind of sneak a bunch of kills while they're not even noticed.
Yeah. A lot of stacking here from these Hydras. So if he can take a good engage, Casual can do well. I think he can do a lot of damage to this army, but he's got to be very wary of those storms. I mean, really, that's the ticket that will change an entire fight. A couple of good size storms.
Storm is make or break in this matchup, absolutely.
This fight looks like it might be make or break. Beautiful.
Storms on. Oh, beautiful storm.
Nice. Very nice, but great spread from his Hydras. He's doing a good job keeping them spread apart.
And there's Dark Templar going completely unnoticed. They're cleaning up a couple extra units here and there.
Going into the mineral line with one of those DTs. He's got a lot of Hydras, but he's going to be able to take out a fair number of drones if he can keep it going.
It kind of turns around. There aren't any more storms anymore, so
yeah,
very barely scraped by and cleans up.
Nice, very nice.
But that did secure these 2 extra Nexi.
Yeah, he chose Nexi. All right, okay. I do, and again, like as soon as those are saturated well, he's got an unbelievable number of gateways. He can really launch this into a late game style economy very quickly and immediately overrun Casual.
Especially once he gets that third gas, because that third gas is so critical for getting your High Templar and then Archons out, and then the fourth gas for Reavers.
Yep. And those Dragoons interspersed that are going to deal with the potential for Lurkers, which is what we're seeing right now coming out of Casual.
Well, Dragoons are actually still pretty good against Hydras up until Dark Swarm as well.
True. And it's always healthy to mix them in, because this is a very, very zealot-heavy army. In fact, this is literally all zealots. Oh, no, there's one dude.
Zealots. They're good units.
They are. We talked about them being scary in the early game, but they get legs, they get even scarier in the mid game.
Legs and upgrades, they keep going all game long.
Unbelievably strong unit.
They cost basically nothing, since you're bottlenecked just as much by gas as you are by anything else.
I think
with units out of Casual.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think from a low econ perspective, with only 27 drones, the idea of going a couple Lurkers and then following up with some mutas is great, because there is no anti-air from Reef right now. Nothing. Now, this is looking good.
One thing I would like to point out that I'm really liking out of Reef is this observer on the left side of the map. He's scouting around. He's looking for that fourth base, so he has a target.
Yeah.
Because this third is so well defended. And with it, naturally.
Yeah, you really that especially in retrospect has been a really good decision. I think moving these Lurkers up to the high ground a little better would be a little bit better favorable position for these 3 down on the low ground. But again, there's nothing to stop these mutas right now except for these 4 Dragoons.
I agree with the Lurker positioning, because especially since the Dragoons are the ones who are going to want to target them. A missed chance of going uphill is so massive with Dragoons' slow rate of fire.
Yeah.
Mutas down at the natural.
Nice kills. Very nice stuff going on here. Good harass. I'd like to see him get out of there, though, before he loses too many. Nice. Okay. He's got 6. Keep him alive. You can send him to these, there's only one cannon at this 4th base, and if he knew that was there, he could really put some pressure on.
And that's also another thing with the mutas. He should be able to scout with them as well. So you can poke around and see what's going on.
Well, it looks like Reef has seen this potential 4th base from Casual, and he's just going to beeline it with everything. All the zealots.
little bit of an overcommittal because he's leaving himself open, but definitely the right move to get it out, taken out before it goes up.
Yeah, yeah. And we see a Reaver coming out from Reef.
Reaver's so good in this matchup against Lurkers, especially against Hydras.
Oh, yeah.
We should see the Reaver before the Hive. Massive.
Certainly. I mean, Casual's not going to have a Hive anytime soon. He's really got his ticket back into this game is just simply lots and lots and lots of Hydras. And more bases. More bases. Always more bases. Aggressive dive here with the Mutas.
Oh, he wasn't able to find a position with those Mutas over at the fort to be able to not be hit by the cannons.
Oh, this is it for Reef. He's decided he's going to come in from both angles. Oh, Dragoons from the right and Zealots from the top.
Quite a bit because that means the Dragoons are fighting the Lurkers and the Zealots are fighting the Hydras. Exactly what you want to have happen.
Yeah, he's shredding right now. This is looking great. You know, Casual's doing a good job microing as best he can, but this just seems like it's too much. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
Nicely done.
Very well done. And that's game.
Nicely done. Whew. Reef looking solid there.
Oh, yeah.
Got some shades of bashing, you know?
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Not quite as solid. Bashing had some really amazing play in this group, but still overall pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I like the early Robo. That was an interesting move. I liked it a lot. So
I think that was such a strong move. He was kind of like looking ahead of time for that and predicting what was going to come out.
Yeah, certainly.
So with our last matchup being a PvP, I guess that means that Attendant and Casual did not manage to play their ZVZ this round.
I don't think so. No, I didn't get it in my map pack, so I would have liked to see that though. ZVZs are always an interesting matchup.
Same here, especially with Casual's style of not liking a lot of drone, not make a lot of drones, and Attendant style of making a ton of drones. I feel like it would have been a great matchup. Yeah, certainly. Well, I'm very much excited for this PvP that's up. The Reef and Escalade. Very, very. I'm excited. And as you said earlier, you know, we could see maybe see a 2-gate or some DTs, some very aggressive play from Escalade, which has been kind of his trademark. I mean, 2-gate and DT both are such staples in PvP. Certainly. Alright, so we have Escalade on the bottom right and Reef on the top left. So I don't think a 2-gate would be really that strong in these positions, and it's pretty hard to build it in the center of the map on this map. Yeah. They don't know that, though. You know, that's the beauty of the early game. Nobody's sure wherever anybody else is. So maybe a proxy, but that's a bold move, you know? Bold, albeit very strong. That is for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any other matchup Protoss can play in where you have so many options for all-ins that can happen to you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's there seems to be, as someone who doesn't play PvP, there seems to be an incredible amount, and I would imagine in a series this is even more the case, an incredible amount of mental games. Oh, absolutely. It's all about the control of information in this matchup. The more defensive you can make your opponent play and then take advantage of that by being greedy, the better off you are. Yeah. Or just being aggressive while they're being greedy. Who knows? Certainly. Reef actually has a lower style of APM right now than Escalade does, so it's going to be very interesting. I usually find that with PvPs, the lower APM players typically have a little bit better Dragoon control, which I always very much like. I think that's just because Dragoons like to be left alone sometimes. So long as you're catching them while they're bugging out and make sure they're in the right place, just leave them alone and you're good. Yeah. A lot of Protoss micro is just, you do it and then you realize, wait, just doing nothing might have been stronger. Yeah. Especially with Zealots. Yeah, certainly. Well, Zealots have a pretty decent AI, you know? Oh, yeah. Compared to some units, whew. One thing I'm noticing here is Reef did not scout. Yeah. And then Escalade did. So that also means that Reef is going for a little bit more economical. There's also supply blocked, so Escalade's going to be out on probes in a second.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing. Maybe he was, asleep at the switch there for a little bit, or maybe this was more of a calculated push. I don't know. But his core is going to be early.
And then the core on Escalade's going down now, while the core for Reef is finishing.
Yeah. So, I mean, despite the fact that he's going to be down one probe, he could leverage that early core into a powerful attack.
Well, if this scouting probe dies, it's pretty even, right? Yep, they're even on probes again. And now it's Reef's turn to go out scouting, so he just wanted to do a delayed scouting, get all of his infrastructure up earlier, and go from there.
Interesting. Second gate's going down.
Gate Escalade. And a second gate from Reef, so we see matching builds here. I love it.
Yeah. It's going to be down to control, Control and trying to leverage any tiny advantage that you have over your opponent.
Now, one thing I do note is that Escalade got 2 Zealots early on.
Yeah.
When there's a bunch of Dragoons before Reaver, which neither have Robo, when you have a bunch of Dragoons and like 1 or 2 Zealots, it really messes with Dragoon AI, and Zealots soak up a lot of hits. Yeah,
certainly. And, even though the core timings were different, vastly different, their Dragoon range is very, very similar. So although we had that really early progression of splitting off, we're coming back to that equilibrium.
Yeah, the main difference with that is just that Reef is going to have 1 more Dragoon in each engagement, in the early engagements, and Escalade will have 1 more Zealot.
Yeah. This is such a great matchup.
I'm still a little bummed we didn't get that DVZ, though. I was really looking forward to that one. But we have the Robo from Escalade. Do we have a Robo from Reef? Not yet.
Let's see what Reef does here. Because this is sort of the next big decision he needs to make. There we go. Robo. Followed up by a Forge from Escalade.
Robo and Forge from Escalade. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Typically, when you get a Forge, you're going for like a DT type of play. And you're just trying to make sure that if they go DT, you don't die.
Certainly.
So it's a little bit stable here. I do find it interesting. Reef has somehow managed to come up with 6 supply increase on Escalade across the course of this game so far. And I think that comes down to just that early probe jump.
Yeah. And it might be that he's just a tiny bit more consistent with those probes. I mean, because over time that really can add up. If you're missing a probe every couple seconds, like maybe 2 seconds, that'll add up very quickly, But we see Citadel.
The same thing for the Dragoons, the same thing for all of the production pylons.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's consistently 6 supply ahead at this point. And we see Observer from both of them, but we see a Citadel from Escalade. Which is consistent with that extra Zealot that he had built early on.
Alright, so Escalade's also going for the Nexus. She's kind of going for everything all at once.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to see just a DT or 2, just to kind of like control the map and delay any possible push with this Nexus going down. That way you really secure it.
Yeah, definitely.
Even with the Observers out, that just means he won't die from DT. Just because you have a Observer doesn't mean you can move out. You need at least 2 or 3 at that point to be able to move out, just in case of a backstab.
Certainly. Support Bay from Escalade, so he really is going everything at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting all the dishes at the buffet. And another gateway. Nice.
Well, if Reef doesn't punish it, it'll work out really well for him.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like Reef is making any serious moves anytime soon, and he's certainly not taking an expansion. So, despite the fact that Escalade is down on probes, if this game goes on long enough, he's going to look great long term.
Well, I really like Reef's play in this position. He doesn't have enough information, so he's just playing defensively, and it goes back to that control of information in this matchup. He has to be prepared for Reaver, GT, and he does have the Dragoons by his mineral line to prepare for a Reaver. He has an Observer in his mineral line for GT, and he has his army down so he doesn't get choked out by like a 3-gate or something like that timing.
Yeah, we're seeing move out from Escalade here. But he doesn't have enough to break this. And
No,
nice kill on the Observer. They traded Observers, nice. Battle of the 80 APMs, this is nice. Okay, and I think this engagement's really going to determine the outcome of this game here.
So I feel that if they engage right here, Reef is just going to steamroll. He has so much more stuff.
I think that's the second neutral animal. That's Blade's kill.
I mean,
but
we're
this
looking
is
at 11 versus 7 Dragoons with equal Zealot count.
yeah, you got to get out of there, or at least take the high ground at the very least. But he's got a Reaver out.
From Escalade's perspective, he should just be running back and defending that natural. But you also know that Reef hasn't expanded.
Yeah.
No, I really do like that pylon. Those pylons that are at their choke, they soak up Dragoon shots, and it's just, you have to build them anyway, so why not put them in a place that's advantageous to you?
Yeah. Reaper coming out for Reef also. So as soon as this shuttle kind of... He's actually going 2 Reavers and then a shuttle. Interesting.
That is fairly standard play for defensive. That way, like, if they push in and say Escalade gets pushed here and he falls back, then he has 2 Reavers to help fight and defend this army in his natural.
Okay.
Oh, he got the Observer.
Nice. Nicely done. So having those 2 Reavers is going to be more advantageous, certainly, because we're seeing that pullback you had just mentioned. But this is a ton of Dragoons. This is 12 Dragoons and a Zealot.
That goes back to the question of he did lose 4 Dragoons in that engagement and 2 Zealots.
Yeah.
Basically nothing. So that Reaver has some really heavy lifting to do. The high ground advantage as well is going to be helpful. That is great positioning from Escalade.
2 great shots, but nicely done. Yeah, Reef is going to handily take this match right here on the high ground.
I mean, that was just great control by Reef in the end there. He was selected the Zealots and had them go onto the Reaver, so they would, if the Reaver isn't targeted, they'll soak up the shot into the Zealots, and all the goons will finish everything else off.
Yeah.
It's just engagement all around.
Nicely done. Very nicely done by Reef. Coming in right into this natural.
Yep, without a Reaver on the way. No GT, I think that's just it. And there's GG.
Yeah. Nicely done. Nicely done.
That was a pretty solid game to wrap up the end of the night with.
Yeah.
I still think that one TVZ between... sorry, I'm blanking on the names. That one TVZ right in the middle.
Bashing and Attendant.
Oh, yes. Bashing.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great matchup. Overall, this group, how'd you feel overall? How'd you feel about the play? How'd you feel about the decision making? How'd you feel about bashing, just straight bashing people left and right?
I mean, I felt overall it was a pretty even group. I mean, you had bashing, which represented like the solid, consistent play. You had Attendant with all of the like massive drone building, casual with a bit more aggression out there as deserved. Escalade with constant harass and fighting constantly with all of his units. I mean, those rallies in that one PvZ were great. And just Reef, which is pretty solid Protoss play in general as well. You can tell that Reef had some good, solid mechanics down under him as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. Totally. Hit the nail on the head. This has been great. This was a great group. I really enjoyed it. We had some wonderful games. That TVZ was awesome from Bashing and Attendant. I really I enjoyed the PvP. That's a matchup I don't get to see very often. It's so nice to see, all the different nuances you really see. I would have loved that ZVZ, as you had said. That's more my wheelhouse. But these things happen. Yeah, it's still the preseason, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where these guys get placed.
I'm looking forward to seeing the way these guys get placed, where more games from each of them, especially from Bashing. I thought Bashing had some really solid play as a Terran player. Like, so consistent every game.
Yeah. No, it was a pleasure to watch all of them. Great to watch it's always a good thing to see someone with good decision making. And Bastion seemed to have just known when to push, what builds he should do, and even at a disadvantage would say, okay, what's the best thing I can do to start to slowly pull myself back into this game? And we saw that time and time again, especially in that ZVT.
And he had a lot of awareness with the scouting as well. He was just
yeah, that idea that, information leads you to make better decisions because you're not playing in the dark, right? Getting that early scout off in the versus our first Protoss player, Escalade, and then also getting another nice scout off against Reef in that second game versus Protoss. Just really good.
Using scout.
Very good stuff. All right. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Great to cast with you.
Hell yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope you guys have enjoyed the cast. Thanks for so much for coming, and we'll see you in the new season. Good luck in all your games, and play well.
We're all looking forward to it. Have a great night, everyone.
Sure. Bye.